Hey everybody, have you heard about the Drunken Peasants Patreon? It helps support the show while getting you some cool perks. Check it out! For $1 per month, you get to use our exclusive fan chat that appears at the bottom of the screen on every episode. For $5 per month, you get 2 new private shows, including Actual Mania, as well as our back catalog of private shows, plus all lower tier perks. For $10 per month, you get all of our monthly video content. This includes multiple post shows, our monthly reviews, our back catalog of all that content, plus all lower tier perks. For $15 per month, your name will appear in the ending credits of each DP episode, plus all lower tier perks. For $25 per month, you get to take part in our monthly booking committee hangout to help us book our Patreon content for that month, plus all lower tier perks. For $33 per month, you get an exclusive piece of DP merch each month, plus all lower tier perks. For $50 per month, you appear in the opening credits for each DP episode, plus all lower tier perks. For $100 per month, you get to join us as a guest on an episode of the Drunken Peasants podcast. Plus, you guessed it, all lower tier perks. Visit patreon.com/DP now to become a patron of the Drunken Peasants podcast.
In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants podcast.
I gotta get a witness. No!
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man.
I don't have facts to back this up.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
That's true. Sometimes I cry.
Oh!
Lick my butthole, he laughed.
From the strangest corners of the internet, here to bring you opinions of the world from an altered perspective. Here are your hosts, the Drunken Peasants.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a afternoon edition of Drunken Peasants, doing it live here once again. Earlier in the day, I had to wake up early and make sure I got a bunch of stuff done before I even set up this stream. But that's what I'm doing. It's about dedication for all of you people out there and for me. Honestly, it's about me also, because I got to meet this goal. I got a goal to meet, and we're 15% of the way after the first show of the week. So I'm here streaming in the afternoon. Where I live, it's 12:30 p.m. So it's just afternoon. Good afternoon to everybody. Please like the stream to let everybody know that we're here, that we're live, that we're doing this right now. And also, it makes me think about the people that live across the pond, you know, because it's, you know, at a reasonable hour for them. So there's a lot of people over there in Western Europe that get to watch live that don't normally get to see live. So if you want to help out and you want to contribute to the show that you already watch but just can't ever catch us live, now's a good time to do that. And I'll keep reminding you of that, so don't worry. Don't worry. I'll make sure to remind you throughout the stream because I have to. That's what, you know, it's just what I got to do. You got to put in the hours. And for those of you who didn't know, we are expanding the goal.
Man,
hey!
ever heard of Greg Doucette? Just kidding. Let's start a tip train.
Yeah, thank you so much. I apologize for losing my patience with you, but you have to understand that I've been doing this for almost 10 years, and all the time I get accused of doing shit that I wasn't doing, like defending somebody when I'm not. All I was saying was that guy is objectively in better shape than Jared. And he is. And he could probably kick Jared's ass. Jared is a frumpy, fat bean of a human being. I don't care if he's a nice guy. I don't care anything about Greg Doucette's character as a human being or anything. I don't look at things that way. 'Cause I notice people all the time will be like, well, I like Cobra better than Jared, so Jared could probably, or so Cobra could probably kick Jared's ass. People are so biased these days. It's crazy. It's like, I don't know. I like Cobra better than Jared, but just because I like one of them better than the other one, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, Cobra can beat Jared's ass. I need to see like a side-by-side comparison, and then I need to like see maybe them spar somebody or something to really know for sure. Someone said screen glitch stuck on intro. Yeah, if that's happening to you, you should refresh. Normally, okay, here's another thing. Normally, if you're noticing a tech issue, and you're the only one mentioning it, it's probably only on your end, and it's not up to me to fix it. It's up to you to fix it. So, like, always assume the problem is with you first before you branch out, I guess, is the moral of the story. Cobra is pretty tall. Pretty sure Jared is taller than Cobra, which doesn't matter that much. Like, height can be weight and it can be reach, but there have been people in the fighting world who have used the fact that they are shorter to their advantage. So it all depends on what your strengths are in a fight and how you use them. But yeah, I'm almost positive Jared is taller than Cobra. Because your favorite son told me he's like 6 feet tall and Cobra's probably like 5'11" or 5'10". And then Jared and other people who have seen Jared say he's about 6'1". But Jared's so out of shape, and he has this big like bubble gut that you could just hit like a giant target. But Jared probably they both have that regard strength, if you know what I mean. They both have that. But yeah, Cobra's also very slow. Cobra has ruined his brain with all the drinking and the huffing and all that shit. I guess he used to do spice a lot too. And reaction time and being able to process things really quickly is important. And he can barely like process a sentence, let alone react to like a fighting situation. He beat up Warlord. Warlord's a fucking homeless junkie, so I wouldn't give him too much credit for that. Yeah, Cobra has bad eyesight, too. That's another thing. Yeah, he can't even legally drive because of his eyesight. So, as much as I would love to see Jared get his ass beat, I'm not going to do what I see all these other people do and just assume because I like the one guy better than the other one, he could beat the other guy in a fight. Fighting isn't a popularity contest. You know? So... some homeless junkies are strong and tough, not meth heads. And just because some of them are, the exception doesn't prove the rule. Come on, people. This is basic stuff here. Everyone, I wouldn't give Cobra. Why would you give Cobra a slight edge? We just established he's slower to react. He's smaller. He has poor eyesight. Why do you give Cobra an edge? Is it only because you like Cobra better? And you want to see Jared lose? Because that's not going to make Cobra a better fighter than Jared. And my stance is I don't know. I need more information. But I just don't like. It just bothers me when I see Cobra's probably like 5'10", and as we established earlier, height isn't the end all be all. I'm almost willing to guarantee Jared weighs more than Cobra, so if it got to like grappling, Jared could probably take Cobra down. They're both sedentary lifestyles. They don't work. They don't work out. They're not in good shape. They're, but Cobra smokes too. So how much wind does? Because like conditioning matters too. Like in a fight, if you get tired really quick and you start sucking air, how are you gonna? You're gonna be a sitting duck eventually. So that's another thing. Cobra like smokes cigarettes and all kinds of shit all day. So I can't imagine he can get moving. I can't imagine he can go for very long before he's out of gas. I know for a fact Jared doesn't smoke, so Jared could probably go a little longer without like huffing and puffing and fighting to breathe. I will say one thing about Jared. I was very surprised at how high Jared could kick in some of those videos. Now, the kicks might not have any power. They might only be height. But it was crazy that he could kick like up, like above his head. I saw a couple times. Now, if he's just swinging his leg, the kick won't have any power. But it was just interesting. He's kind of surprisingly flexible. If you look at those videos of him doing his dumb martial arts in his backyard, he could kick surprisingly high. I could barely kick like without like leaning really far back. I could hardly kick like up above my chest. So, all right, we are going to check out this interview that David Pakman did with the QAnon shaman. We followed the QAnon shaman for a little while after the whole January 6th thing, the time he was in jail and the arguments his lawyer was making and how that all worked out. But now he's kind of saying his lawyer misrepresented him and everything. So we're going to get into that right now in our first segment of the day, which is antagonism. Here we go.
The fight I'm interested in is on Hughes and Blade versus Jared. Thoughts, Ben?
Okay, I just got a Streamlabs that I'm about to respond to in just a moment here. You know, that would be interesting. Only Use Me Blade versus Jared, because I think they are very similar physically. But again, Jared doesn't drink. I don't know about that. The QAnon shaman looks like JF. Oh, wow. Wow, I'm getting a whole bunch of them back to back to back to back. You guys just bombarded me. I was bombarded with a whole bunch of stuff here. Let me see what's going on here. Looks like JF Kratos became a barista. I don't know who that is. Not sure who that is. But yeah, Only Use Me Blade versus Jared. They seem about the. See, I've seen Blade in person. He's a tall guy, and he's got the like where he's kind of like small up top, but then he's got like the big gut from drinking all the time. Jared has it probably just from eating crap all the time. But yeah, they're probably about physically the same. I think Blade's way older than Jared.
Would attack like a rabid animal, and Jared would be afraid, curl up into a ball and cry.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. Also, a couple square punches in the mouth. I'd have to wonder how many teeth Cobra would have left, because his teeth are like peanut brittle at this point. Anyway, here's David Pakman. He guest on DP years and years and years ago. We had him on DP years and years and years ago. And him interviewing the QAnon shaman.
Today we welcome to the program Jake Angeli.
Thank you, by the way.
Chansley, who's a spiritual activist.
He's wearing a white suit.
Shamanic.
White on black. He's got a black shirt. Looking pretty spiffy, actually.
Practitioner, published author, entrepreneur, known to many in our audience, I'm sure, as the Q shaman.
Yeah, way better than the weird like headdress getup that he had.
Or QAnon shaman. He was convicted and served some time for his role in the January 6th Trump riots, which I am sure we will also talk about. I really appreciate your time and you being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I think it's more like the deep state setup riots than Trump riots. I don't think Trump had people do that. I think it was more likely that the feds and the crowd and Antifa and BLM were largely responsible, and the police throwing tear gas and concussion grenades into a peaceful crowd, that probably had something to do with it too.
Well, hold on. Let's go through piece by piece, because we have plenty of time to get to everything if we just do it sequentially. So in court,
someone said Mama JF versus Gucci's. Well, I've seen Gucci's get beat up by like 5-6 people at the same time and still like get up and still fight. So she's definitely got more spirit and more, she can take more of a beating than Mama JF, I would think. I don't know, like size wise, Mama JF seemed like a larger than average woman, like just larger, not like fat or anything, but like larger. So it's hard to say. It's hard to like pick two people in a fight when you haven't seen both of them in person, or you don't have like their official height and weight. You don't know like their experience. But I've seen Gucci's get beat up multiple times and she bounces back like it was nothing, and she's not afraid to get beat up. Like when there's a whole bunch of people following her trying to beat her up, she'll still like antagonize them. So apparently pain doesn't bother her that much.
Through your lawyers, as I reviewed the records, to some degree, you made the case that you were there because of Trump, right? So I'm interested in this conflict between clearly Trump did motivate you to be there, but also you're saying it was Antifa and the FBI. But aren't you evidence that that's not the case, Jake?
Well, my previous lawyer misrepresented me in pretty much every single way.
Your lawyer is the reason you're a free man today. Your lawyer made a compelling argument to where you didn't have to do even close to as much time as you probably should have done. So it's funny that you shit on him. You're a fucking loony.
So, you denounced the arguments made by your lawyer.
Well, yeah, on a number of different occasions, he said things that I never asked him to say. I never felt duped by Trump, never said that. I'm not mentally ill, not bipolar, schizophrenic, delusional, or, depressed. None of that's true.
Okay. So keep in mind, all the things he named and said he's none of these things, keep that in the back of your mind, because later in the interview, he disproves all of that.
So your view as of today, regardless of the argument that was made in court, is that the events of January 6th were carried out by, tell me which groups it was again?
Well, it's actually, if you look at it objectively, look at the setup that was very clearly...
Does he know what objectively means? He's like, yeah, if you look at it objectively, everything I say is right. And so much of it is unprovable shit that you can't really look at objectively if you're viewing it his way.
There, from a very early stage, prior to January 6th, what you're going to find is that largely the parties responsible would be people like Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, Yogananda Pittman, Mark Milley in the Pentagon, Christopher Wray in the FBI, and people in Antifa and BLM.
How do you know that any of that is true? What evidence do you have, for example?
By the way, thoughts he has, he's kind of tried to run away from the QAnon shaman persona. If you, later on in this, you'll see he's kind of ran from that a little bit.
That Nancy Pelosi was involved in what happened that day.
Well, because if you look into the testimony of former Capitol Police Chief Sund, he had his emergency powers revoked by Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell prior to the January 6th events, and they had to go. He had to go through them in order to deploy the National Guard. And when he gave the written request for National Guard to be present, they denied it because it would be bad optics and there was lack of evidence. But the evidence was all there. He was just not given the evidence by Yogananda Pittman, by the FBI, and by the Pentagon. And that's according to his own testimony. That's also according to the testimony of former Capitol Police Lieutenant Tarek Johnson.
Yeah, I've reviewed their testimony and was not able to find that. It's sort of beyond the scope of this interview to look at it line by line. I guess big picture, Jake, why do you think that parties that supported Joe Biden would try to interfere with Joe Biden being made president?
How's he going to answer this one? David Pakman's a very rational guy in many ways. Obviously, nobody's right all the time. Like I can disagree with him from time to time. But, yeah, against someone like this, it's just too easy.
Why would they do that? It seems counterproductive, doesn't it?
Well, the thing is what you have to understand is that it was about creating a setup so that a psyop may ensue and the weaponization of the Justice Department, the DOJ, could then be used to go after Trump and his supporters.
But that's just a word salad, Jake. It doesn't address the crux of the question, does it?
No, it does. It does.
How?
And just allow me to address it. So because of the events of January 6th, there have been multitudes, thousands of Trump supporters that have been labeled domestic terrorists. And
because they showed up and committed crimes, though, right? Or you're saying they were tricked into doing so?
But with respect, David, that's not the same thing as committing acts of domestic terrorism in the way that there has been acts of domestic terrorism committed, say, for over 200 days all over the country during the 2020 riots by Antifa and BLM, who claimed in their own on their own websites that they wanted to overthrow the American capitalist
that's
system.
A non sequitur. I have to interrupt, Jake. I have to interrupt, Jake, because what you have to understand is, imagine that I was accused of attempted murder. It is of no importance whatsoever if a year prior someone else somewhere else also tried to kill someone. I can't use that as my defense. And what you're saying is that part of the defense of what the people on January 6th did is your perception of what BLM did a year earlier. That's not a valid defense.
No. What I'm saying, dude, is this.
Okay.
What we're talking about here is optics. Okay, and they tried to make me, in particular, look as bad as humanly possible.
How did they dress you in that stupid costume and make you behave the way you did? I don't think so. He is blaming other people for the dumb choices he made that landed him in prison and made him a fucking joke to the entire country and the world in many respects. He was the face of that whole thing too. I even included it in the thumbnail, like over, because I have a picture of him in this suit in the thumbnail, but then over his shoulder I have the like famous picture of him like with the weird like tribal headdress on and everything. He went there and chose to dress in a way that would make him stand out. Even in a crowd like that, he stood out, and he was in there messing around. There's all this video of him doing dumb shit.
They used all sorts of trigger words and
yes, I talk this loud. If you don't like it, leave.
Trigger images to put a label on me and many other Trump supporters to circumvent our constitutional rights and to basically centralize power and use the levers of power in government to go after their political opponents.
Okay, let me ask you a real practical question about that. You're talking about being designated domestic terrorists. I want to be super specific here because I really want to understand your view on this. These cases like yours were federal cases. There is no official designation of domestic terrorism by the U.S. federal government. So who labeled you as such and where?
The Mockingbird media did all over the news, number one. And number two, are you telling me that when, say, the government is designating institutions like, say, the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers as domestic terrorist groups, or anybody for that matter that was flying into D.C.? I don't know if you're aware, but anybody that flew into D.C. in early January.
He has all these weird irrational beliefs about how this was orchestrated. It was orchestrated to an extent, but not the way he thinks and not by the people he thinks. He thinks this was created to give his side a bad name. Bad PR.
2021 is now being followed around by the U.S. Marshals on airplanes, and there are no U.S. Marshals on the FAA on airplanes all across the country because of this label.
You're doing a lot of whataboutism and changing topics.
This isn't whataboutism.
Let's just try. Hold on, Jake. Hold on. Let's conduct this interview in a sensible way. Okay. Let's stick with one of the things you said. When we finish with it, we'll go to the next thing. Okay. You said that many of the people charged for their alleged involvement on January 6th have been designated as domestic terrorists by the weaponized DOJ. I then said to you, there is no such designation by the U.S. government in the legal proceedings that you're talking about. So what do you mean they were designated domestic terrorists by the weaponized DOJ? You said, well, the Mockingbird media did it. So are you ready on... Hold on.
You talked about me.
Let me finish the question.
You said who labeled you that, and that's what I'm saying. Well, the Mockingbird media did.
You first said that the weaponized DOJ issued that label. When I told you no such label exists, you said it was actually the media. So from a legal standpoint, no one has designated you.
You're mixing it up. That's not the case at all.
Okay.
What it is that I was saying what it is that I'm saying is that the DOJ has labeled numerous Trump supporters that were there on January 6th, and some people that weren't even there on January 6th, as domestic terrorists. And you
labeled
can
them
look
how
into,
and where.
And I'll tell you, you can look into the testimony of Stephen Friend, the FBI whistleblower who came forward and was talking about how it is that the FBI is designating these people as domestic terrorists and then handing these cases to FBI field offices all over the country, as instead of treating it like it was one incident on one day at one location. And in this way, they're actually expanding their domestic terrorism investigations all over the country, creating the illusion that there is some sort of domestic terrorism threat from white Trump supporters.
Listen, it seems as though I don't want to spend the whole interview on this. As of 2 weeks ago, none of the individuals involved in the January 6th riots have been designated as domestic terrorists. There is no specific domestic terrorism statute, and none of the individuals that you're referring to have actually been designated in that way by the DOJ. People have heard your opinion. Hold on.
But David,
people heard your opinion. Now they've heard mine.
What about the terrorism enhancements that are being placed on their plea deals? Are you telling me that that isn't a classification?
There just is no such classification. If you want to give me a specific case, Jake, hold on.
Having these terrorism enhancements on their plea deals.
I would be glad to look at that and give my opinion, but you made a different claim to start with. That's a different claim altogether. Okay, it's just a different claim. It's just not the claim. Let me ask you this: you've said that some of the things said by your lawyer during your trial are not things you agreed with. Fine. Do you acknowledge that you did something wrong on that day and that you are the sole person responsible for that?
Yes, I've said that.
And then he gets this like rattling noise in the background that's like, I don't know what it is. And he claims he doesn't hear it, but at first I thought it was something in the room I was in when I was first listening to this. And then David Pakman mentions it, so I know that it was something else.
On several occasions. If you do your research, I've accepted.
It sounds like an old like timer.
Responsibility. I've said that I broke the law. I should not have broken the law, and I've done my time. And I'm out now because I did my time and I had good time and good behavior in prison.
Just so you know, there's like a rattle going in the background. I don't know if you hear that. Oh, it just stopped. Do you blame anyone other than yourself for inducing, entrapping, or goading you into doing what you did on that day?
Not at all.
Just plain and simple. You don't blame anybody else?
No, I take full responsibility for my actions.
Okay. When it comes to some of the views that you have been associated with, I've seen, again, and this is from things your lawyer has said, so you tell me if you don't agree, that you have distanced yourself from like the QAnon shaman stuff. You don't consider yourself a follower of QAnon. Like, is that true?
Well, QAnon is a label and a straw man created by the Mockingbird media, and they called
the Mockingbird media, the To Kill a Mockingbird media, Atticus Finch media.
Me QAnon shaman, and had the audacity to say that's what I called myself.
I have woodpeckers that will occasionally peck the outside of my house, and it does kind of sound like that. To me, it sounds like one of those old wind-up timers, like if you're baking or whatever, the way it sounds while it's winding down.
So
what I'm asking you is just about the views, not the label.
Well, dude, that really all depends on what you think Q views are. What do you think Q views are?
I think the biggest overriding view is that there is a sort of conspiracy of child abuse and pedophilia that is carried out by so-called elites, the deep state and Democrats, which Donald Trump was chosen by God to become president and then stop.
Okay, so I don't necessarily agree with all of that, but if you look into Jeffrey Epstein and what he was doing, if you look into the finders, if you look into the Franklin cover-up, if you look into the testimony of Ronald Bernard, if you look into the Barney Frank scandal, if you look into the Michael Aquino military base scandals, if you look into the numerous scandals that are coming out now regarding all these people that debunked Pizzagate, and now they're being arrested and charged with child porn charges and child abuse charges, then it's quite clear that there is some sort of an elite sex trafficking pedophilia ring in DC, in Hollywood. If you look into the testimony of Corey Feldman, if you look into the testimony of a lot of these young people that were groomed in Hollywood and raped at young ages, then it's quite clear that there is some sort of elite child sex trafficking going on.
So you do believe that?
Well, you don't?
No, I've not seen any evidence of that whatsoever.
So I just gave you all of these facts. I just gave you all these things that you can look up. And if you don't look it up, you're not doing your due diligence as a journalist.
Well, we can look up. So this is what's called the setting small fires conundrum. Okay. I have investigated Pizzagate and QAnon to a degree that I think is completely reasonable, and have looked at some, but not all of the things you just mentioned. The thing that becomes difficult is you are extremely skeptical of accepting any official source for any claim. But at the same time, you argue that if I'm not familiar with every proverbial small fire that you've just set, that certainly what you're saying must be true, even though you're also not citing any sources for these things. It's tough to have a real conversation when someone does that, you know?
Well, look into the government website on the finders. This has been declassified. The CIA was trafficking children for satanic ritual abuse, keeping them in cages. They were abducting children off the street, and this was the whistle was blown by the FBI.
I'll look into that.
Okay,
I'll look into that.
Now look into the Franklin cover-up. That's where the rising Republican star Lawrence King was trafficking children out of CPS and forcing them into satanic rituals while they did cocaine and molested children. Okay, look into the Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino in charge of psychological warfare and mind control for the Army. Look into his scandals on military bases.
Listen, we can't possibly do all of these things here. What I will tell you is, but hold on, just as an example, we have to do this in a way that makes sense for the audience, Jake, okay? So if you want to come back, give me the full list of stuff and we can investigate it. The one I've investigated that you mentioned is the Franklin conspiracy. There is essentially no credible evidence that what you just described is going on. It has been investigated deeply.
It's funny that he discredits his attorney and what his attorney said, and his attorney is the reason why he's not in prison anymore. He got a deal, and I guess, I don't know. I'm questioning, does he believe this stuff, or does he know that there's money in him being this character because there's other crazies out there? So now that he's in the clear, he's going to fall back into that.
There are documents people can find. We can't make this about Franklin conspiracy. You mentioned one I'm familiar with, and what I'm telling you is everything you've said is disputed and, in my opinion, not backed by evidence. Let me get to the second part. You believe a bunch of the first stuff I said. Do you believe Trump was sent by God to solve that problem?
I don't necessarily think that is a accurate portrayal of. I think that we're all here on God's will, but I'll say that much.
Okay. Do you think Trump maybe was sent by God to deal with it?
Dude, I think everybody was sent here by God to do something.
Okay. But you have no evidence that Trump was sent here specifically to stop the ring of pedophilia you just described?
No, what kind of evidence would there be?
I don't know. I mean, I guess the same kind you're citing for all this other stuff, which is not.
Oh, give me a break, David.
Okay. Hey, so you're now running for a congressional seat. Talk to me about what is.
He's running for Congress. He might. I mean, like, if he ran in like a rural area, you know, the kind of place that would elect Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, he could win. If they set him up in a place with a low population and a low average IQ, he could win.
The platform. What are you bringing to the table? Why would you be a good member of Congress?
Because I'm actually going to represent the American people. The first 4 things that I'm going to introduce to the House floor is a single bill voting law, an amendment for term limits for congressmen and staff, a criminalization of lobbying, and 7-figure fines, expulsion, and prosecution for insider trading. And believe me, there's a much longer list to go along with that, but those are the first 4 things I intend to do.
Do you think that your criminal past is going to be useful or maybe hurtful in this campaign?
Well, the fact of the matter is I don't have a criminal past. I have 1 felony for which that is...
Which you have 1 felony. That's a criminal past because it's in the past and it's criminal. That's how it works.
The only crime I've ever committed in my life. And no, I don't think it's going to be a hindrance whatsoever.
Why not? Don't you think that it's something that may make people say, well, hold on a second. Is this the sort of person we want representing us?
Well, you know, considering that all the people that are quote unquote representing the American people right now are probably criminals themselves, considering all the insider trading and all the cocaine and orgies then all the hookers that they hire, then, right. You know, I probably don't see that is going to be a problem at all.
All right. Well, we're going to follow it with interest. A couple other things I want to talk about. You know, I don't want to simply and flippantly ascribe the label conspiracy theorist to you.
He was living with his mom after getting sued by his landlord for non-payment of rent. You want to trust him with national finances? It's weird because you don't have to, like, if there's enough people willing to vote for you, your past, how unqualified you are, none of that matters.
Because it can sometimes be a label that just stops conversation, and I want to have a conversation. But I do want to ask you about some other beliefs and see sort of like, what is the network of beliefs? You've talked to us a little bit about QAnon. It has been said by prosecutors that you believe you are an alien or a higher being of some kind. Is that true? Is that a belief you hold?
As a shamanic practitioner, I have a hyperdimensional consciousness that stretches far beyond the bounds of my physical body.
So that's a yes, it sounds like.
Well, do you know what a bodhisattva is?
Generally speaking, yeah. Sort of a spiritual figure of sorts that people may follow, yeah.
Well, kind of. It's a spiritual being that attains a certain level of enlightenment, but reincarnates over and over again consciously until all of humanity is enlightened and brought into an ascended level of consciousness.
What is that? It might, you know, honestly, it might be his computer. The sound might actually be coming from his video card or something like that. I've seen that happen. I remember, like, sometimes when I would stream with Shabisky and he'd be playing a game off of his computer, I could hear it would create like this weird sound.
I am a bodhisattva.
All right. So it sounds like you do believe you are a higher being of sorts.
Well, I think we all have the capacity to be quote unquote higher beings. I think we all are higher beings. I'm just more conscious of it than others.
Fair. When it comes to vaccination, I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you were discharged from the military for refusing an anthrax vaccination. I'm curious, are you, assuming that's true, and you'll tell me if it's not, are you against all vaccines or only certain ones?
Well,
so he was kicked out of the military for not having an anthrax vaccine? I didn't even know that existed. That must be something you only really get if you're in the military, because you're not really likely to come in contact with anthrax. You know, it's a very rare thing. So, but that's weird. Like, you'd think you'd want something like that. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to take it, but you also don't have to be in the military.
Against is trusting people that have openly espoused their eugenic beliefs to manufacture vaccines for the mass populations of the planet. And considering the Rockefeller family and considering people like Bill Gates, who are behind a lot of these vaccines, are admitted eugenicists, I don't trust them one little bit at all. To give me or anybody.
It says currently the anthrax vaccine is only recommended in the United States for military personnel, lab personnel, and handlers of animals or animal products who are at the highest risk for exposure to anthrax. So that's it. You know, they don't recommend that vaccine to the general population. I'm guessing a lot of people have had it that are, you know, a lot of people in the military get it and there's no weird side effects or anything.
Vaccine.
So it's not that you reject the science of vaccination as a principle, the inoculation. You just don't like who's making the vaccines because you believe that they have genocidal goals?
The principle behind vaccines is sound for the most part. However, the ingredients that are being put in modern vaccines by these eugenicist-owned companies are detrimental to human health.
Like what ingredient?
Oh, things like, formaldehyde, things like dead fetal tissue, things like, mercury-based compounds that penetrate the blood-brain barrier, all sorts of stuff that's in there, preservatives for the microbiological life forms. There's all sorts of stuff in these vaccines. Just look at the list and look at the ingredients.
But you know that, again,
vaccines.
Jacob, we can't do every single one of these. But like the dead fetal tissue in vaccines, you know that that's not true. There were stem cell lines obtained from fetal tissue used to research and develop the vaccines. But you're suggesting like they're injecting a piece of a dead baby into everybody. That's crazy. You've got to see that that's crazy.
Yeah, they read it somewhere on the internet and they're like, what? And then that becomes their talking point. And it never strays from that. It's very strange. Yeah, they put babies in a blender and then put them into a vaccine. That's basically what he believes.
No, you see, you're clearly not doing your research, but that's okay.
Do your research. This is used so much. Oh yeah, you didn't do your research.
Sir, tell me where I'm wrong.
Debate you on it right now.
I'm sorry, you said you're not equipped to debate me on that right now.
No, what I'm saying is that because of our time constraints, dude, I'll argue into the 9th hour, but our time constraints won't allow it.
But to be clear, I'm saying pieces of dead babies are not an ingredient in the vaccines. You're saying that they are.
No, what I'm saying is dead fetal tissue.
Yes.
As in cells from dead babies.
Tissue, right. Okay, it's part of a dead baby.
Used, and that also goes into our food. That goes into our food as well. So it's like, you can't deny it. The science is there. This is what these pharmaceutical companies do.
Okay. I think it can be denied on the basis that there's no evidence for it, but it sounds like we're not necessarily.
Yeah, that's what they say about the election too.
Right. I think Joe Biden won. That's true.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you do.
I love it because he acts like he's smarter and he just knows this thing that nobody else knows. Oh yeah, you're just dumb. You think this thing happened that is actually true. I don't get it. Is it only mental illness or are there other things? I feel like the internet has made this sort of stuff a lot worse over time.
Yeah. Hey, in the limited time we have left, do you regret what you did on January 6th? Aside from, I know you've said, you've already talked a little bit about it and you said you're responsible, etc. Would everybody have been better off, including you, if you had just never gone on that day?
I think everybody in the
It's almost louder than him at this point.
Country would be better off if the government didn't set things up the way that they did. But
did they set you up to go? Because you've taken responsibility. You went because you wanted to go. So why is it that now you blame the government?
I know. What I'm saying, dude, is that it was a setup on behalf of the deep state. If they allowed the National Guard to be there, it never would have happened. Okay? And regarding this notion of regrets, I don't regret anything in life, even though I've made several mistakes, because regret is far too heavy a burden.
No, it's okay to regret some things, especially really, really bad things, really, really bad choices. But who knows? Maybe he'll find a way to grift off of this, and him having done this and going to prison will be the greatest thing that's ever happened to him. I don't know, but the way the world is now, normally I'd be like, oh, this ends this guy's life. Like 10, 20 years ago, I'd have been like, man, this guy's fucked. But now it's because there's so many crazy people out there that believe these conspiracy theories and they all prop each other up. I'm like, this guy could make a career out of this.
Carry forward into the future. You can either make a mistake and not learn from it, or you can make a mistake and learn from it. And then at that point, it's not a mistake, it's a lesson. And I've learned many lessons throughout my life, and I am better for it.
Are there any lessons you learned from being there on January 6th that are about you rather than about, like, I know you could very easily say, well, I learned how powerful the deep state is. Okay, that's a dead end for our conversation. Are there any lessons about you that you learned from having been there that day?
Yeah.
And what lesson is that?
That I'm far stronger than I could have possibly imagined, and God is guiding me in every single footstep I
God guided you to go to prison.
take.
All right.
And wear a headdress.
I think that is a good note to end our interview on. We've been speaking with Jake Angeli Chansley, who is not only a spiritual activist, but also now running for Congress. Jake, I appreciate your time. We don't have to agree on everything for the conversation to be useful, and we're going to be following your campaign very closely.
My arms are so sore because I got 2 vaccines yesterday. See, it's weird that this guy's like, he joins the military. He's willing to go through basic training and basic, you sign a contract. The military owns you for X amount of years. It's usually like 4 years. He was willing to do all that, but then they were like, hey, you need to take, you need to get vaccinated against this biological weapon that you may encounter on the battlefield if you're out there. And he's like, nope, that's where I draw the line, which is so weird because, in basic training, they break you down so hard. They make you inhale tear gas and shit. It's but no, that's where I draw the line. You make me get a vaccine against this horrible biological weapon that is used. I don't get it. But yeah, my arms are sore because I got 2 vaccinations, 1 in each arm, 1 in each shoulder. And I do have to say the COVID one did do more damage. The COVID one is the worst of the 2. And I don't know if it's because where they stuck it exactly or if it is just that vaccine happens to cause more soreness. Yes, when you join the military, you follow, well, there is a little bit of nuance to that. There are orders where there's orders you can be given that you shouldn't follow, and if you do, you could end up paying the price worse than if you don't follow them. Like if you're being asked to kill civilians or something like that. There's also military people have been held accountable pretty hard for following orders that ended up being very bad orders.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so yes, follow orders most of the time, but there have been times people have been given orders that they shouldn't have followed and they ended up paying the price for it. It's always the people at the bottom level of it that get in trouble too. Like all the Abu Ghraib people, all the people that went to prison for that, they went because, they were given orders by someone else, but they were the people who actually carried them out, so they went to prison. I also have this plagiarism, the hbomberguy plagiarism thing that we're going to check out in just a minute here. I've heard of hbomberguy. I saw his channel. It's a pretty big one. I've never really watched him before, but this is him talking about plagiarism on YouTube. It's a really long video. It's almost 4 hours. I don't know if we're going to watch the whole thing. I'll get as far through it as I can. He talks about Angry Video Game Nerd, which is someone I'm a big fan of. So I guess we'll see what he has to say about it.
$337,000. Tell us the story briefly.
In 1970, in Analog magazine, Harlan Ellison and Ben Bova published the short story Brillo. Ellison's one of the most famous writers in history, but Bova's no slouch. He soon became editor of Analog, where he was beloved and won the Hugo Award for Best Professional Editor 6 times. This isn't one of his. He accepted this one on behalf of George R.R. Martin, whose career...
George Hard R. Martin. George R. R. Martin owns this train in New Mexico that you can get on, and they take you on like a scenic drive, a scenic train ride through the backcountry in New Mexico, and they serve drinks, and sometimes they'll have live music on the train. It's really cool. He also is one of the founders of Meow Wolf too, which is another really cool artsy thing that they now have in several cities, but it started in Santa Fe. Look how skinny George R. R. Martin used to be. I'll show you guys this train really quick here. It's called the Sky Railway, and you ride on this crazy looking train around the desert. Oh wow, they have like an outdoor area. I've never been on a train that does that. The train probably doesn't go very fast. Yeah, they pour you drinks. There's people playing music. It looks really cool. It didn't exist when I lived there. They have different train adventures, I guess they take you on. It looks cool. I would check it out.
He started. George couldn't make it. He was running a chess tournament at the time. Writers used to have fun. Now we just complain about Twitter. On Twitter, Brillo was about the world's first robot police officer. His name's Brillo because Brillo pads are metal fuzz. That's pretty good. This is one of the earliest stories in fiction about a robot cop, a commonplace trope today, and soon in real life. It wasn't the first example. The most famous earlier one would be Isaac Asimov's Caves of Steel. Remember this, it will come up later. Ellison and Bova thought the idea had legs and decided to adapt it into a TV show. They pitched the idea to a few companies, including NBC, where an executive named Terry Keegan said no. They later showed Brillo to Paramount, where the head of development, Terry Keegan, he'd recently been hired there, said no. The same man passed on the same pitch twice at two companies. Clearly not a fan of the robot cop idea. 6 months later, Terry Keegan sold a show called Future Cop to ABC. It's a show about a robot cop.
He's an android.
Oh yeah,
a robot.
People steal ideas all the time. All the time. People that are higher up will steal ideas from lower level people and then just keep it as their own and pretend they made it up. It happens all the time.
The perfect cop.
Our boys realize they've been ripped off.
When I saw it, I wanted to file immediately. My attorney said, forget it, man. He said, 90% of all plagiarism suits the plaintiff loses. Besides, these guys will kill you. You'll never work in this town again.
They spend years finding a lawyer willing to sue a giant television conglomerate, despite the cost and the possibility of being blacklisted from working in television. In his deposition, Keegan claims he never read Brillo.
So I'm guessing this isn't really what Keegan looked like, because this seems like something from stock, like Adobe stock or something like that.
An obvious lie. It was later discovered the memos proving he deliberately ripped them off had been burned. The jury found in favor of Ellison and Bova and awarded them $337,000 in damages, about $1.2 million today. Ellison used some of them.
It's so sad how much the value of money has changed in my lifetime. It's just crazy.
Money to put up a billboard across the street from the studio reading, "Writers, don't let them steal from you. Keep their hands out of your pockets." Or at least he said he was going to in interviews at the time, and later journalism claims it happened, but I can't find any pictures, which is a shame. Either way, they still made off with all that delicious money. Yum yum.
I've been waiting 4 years for this moment. 4 years to tell other writers they can fight them and beat them.
So, what's all that about? Okay, you know that trick video essayists use?
At first, when I saw him, because I had never seen him before, I watched some of this video earlier. I'm like, why is his shoulder ripped? And I realized he has all these burns all over his shirt. So I guess this is part of his shtick. I had no idea.
Where they open on a semi-related example that sets the stage for the wider topic. It's a classic, I do it all the time. I wanted to open on a recent example of a writer winning a plagiarism lawsuit and getting their day in court. But there isn't one. This ancient case, which took place over a decade before I, and statistically you, were even born, is still the best, most recent, and almost only example. Ellison and Bova are among the few writers to ever see financial compensation for their work being stolen. Oh, this always happens. Testing, 1, 2, 3. For the foreseeable future, if someone else on here steals your work for money, there's not much you can do except talk about it. A few years ago, I made a video with some examples of plagiarism, and even covered a time I felt it happened to me. The guy in question, Lukey Poo, briefly posted a 10-minute response accusing me of overreacting, before appearing to think better of the whole thing and deleting this along with the video copying me.
I watched your video, went through it piece by piece, and copied it because you're such an incredible YouTuber.
Thanks, Luke. Apology accepted. He has since rebranded his channel, recognizing the irony in presenting himself as a literal piece of shit, but his videos are still
a literal piece of shit? So like he's literally like a turd?
Wash with plagiarism accusations, ripping off other YouTubers for hours at a time now, the only new sections
like
being
Mr.
stuff
Hanky?
about how homophobia's fine. Maybe the rebrand was a little too soon, but no authority took Luke's video down. He could have left it up, and people often do. You can spend ages on a unique video with an original idea, and a way more popular guy can rip it off, along with its thumbnail, get a bajillion views and rake in the cash. On YouTube, if you have an original idea, if it's good, it won't be yours for long.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in 2014, 2015, do you remember all the DP clones that popped up? The one that we always laugh about is the inebriated discussion, or no, the random discussions of an inebriated variety. There were multiple shows that were like clones of our show that popped up around that time, 2014, 2015, that had a very similar format and layout and basically did the same thing. Yeah, but the random discussions of an inebriated variety, they were like a weird, like low rent, like discount version where they even their intro was similar at first. It was hilarious.
The fact I'm making this video during one of the biggest creative strikes in history isn't lost on me. Other people's hands have never before been this deep in the pockets of creators. We need Harlan Ellison's billboard now more than ever, but I don't know how to rent a billboard and it sounds expensive. So instead, we're going to talk about plagiarism on YouTube, what exactly it is, why it's wrong, and the many unintended side effects. Only then can we begin to talk about what to do about it, or at least what I'm going to do to try to put some of it right. I'm going to use a few relatively well-known examples you might have heard of already, and some new ones I found just for this video. I could even ruin some of your favourite YouTubers for you. Apologies in advance. So, let's start some fights. Part I. Philip.
What's going on, everyone? Thanks for clicking on the video.
Philip Mewson was a YouTuber who reviewed Nintendo Switch games and accessories and talked about Nintendo-related...
All right, so he's going to go through all of these examples of very successful plagiarism, I guess, and we'll see if we agree.
His videos were surprisingly well edited, and by that I mean they used way too many fancy transitions. I mean, they're not even hard to do, you just drag and drop them on your timeline and what? But when he applied for a job at IGN, his obvious mastery of a plugin everyone else also has, and existing channel with a decent size led to him getting picked as their new Nintendo editor. On August 6th, 2018, his review of Dead Cells went up onto the official IGN YouTube channel. But then on August 7th, YouTuber Boomstick Gaming posted a video titled, "IGN copied my Dead Cells review. What do I do?" He had noticed some similarities between Philip's reviews and his own, published in late July.
Dead Cells takes a progression of a Metroidvania and integrates it into this procedurally generated action roguelite.
It takes the progression system of a Metroidvania and transforms it into a procedurally generated action roguelite.
This combat system is fast, fluid, responsive, and one of the most rewarding representations of 2D combat of the entire genre.
Fights are fast, fluid, responsive, and hands down one of the most gratifying representations of video game combat I've ever experienced.
I mean, it's changing it enough. Like, how much does it have to be changed where it's not plagiarism? I really don't care. This does not bother me at all. I'll have to poll the viewers in a minute here, but I don't see he's changing it. It's not word for word the same thing.
Dead Cells figures out an intriguing way to have your roguelite and Metroidvania experience all in one by focusing on your failures and urging you to try something new the next time.
Dead Cells strikes a perfect and engaging balance between the Metroidvania and roguelite experiences by focusing on your failures and urging you to experiment each time you do fail.
Dead Cells only falters slightly with some repetition setting in, especially on the early areas and during longer play sessions.
Dead Cells does falter slightly with some repetition, but it's only felt in its earlier areas and during the extended play sessions.
Speaking of repetition, oh my god, the review was taken down while IGN investigated the issue further, and then later that day confirmed he had been let go from the company. But was this the first time Philip had done this? Catching someone doing plagiarism is difficult. Someone has to notice the theft, which means having also seen the copied work. And if it's anything obscure, that's quite unlikely. If you catch someone plagiarizing once, chances are they rolled those dice a few times before and hadn't been unlucky yet. People started looking through his other reviews in case there was more. Over at Kotaku, Jason Schreier's article on the firing was updated to mention an anonymous tip, pointing out similarities between Philip's review of FIFA 18 on the Switch and the one on Nintendo Life by Chris Scullion. Philip's review was made for his personal channel before he was even hired at IGN, meaning he'd been doing this for a while. Scullion himself would later post a video comparing his review with Philip's, showing off the many similarities, and I'll link that in the description. But I want to zoom in on my favourite example. Philip tries to hide what he's doing by changing words around, and he does it really badly. In his article, Chris says compared to the non-Switch versions, the graphics are a good deal less detailed. Here's Philip's version.
However, when you get up close and get a good look at some of the character models, it's pretty clear that they do have a good amount of less detail than the Xbox One and PS4 versions of the game do.
It's pretty clear that they do have a good amount of less detail. No one would ever write that sentence on purpose. You only create that by trying to change something you stole. There's a great example here of the deeper problems that plagiarism can cause. Philip's review contains false information. For example, here when he talks about the game's Women's League feature.
FIFA 18 comes with the standard tournament and kickoff modes, as well as the Women's League, which was officially introduced in FIFA 16.
There are no women's leagues in FIFA 18. There's women's football, but leagues are specific real-life organizations that do not exist in the game. Philip's plagiarism avoidance techniques caused him to reword a sentence so badly that he invented a feature that doesn't exist. While these discoveries were being made, Philip made the decision to record and post an infamous, quickly deleted video onto his channel entitled My Response. Not an apology, a response. Philip denied everything, took no responsibility, and told numerous lies in this video. At the time, this was criticized.
Well, I don't agree with that, with him doing that, but he shouldn't have to apologize either. Apologizing is dumb. Apologize to your family, apologize to your significant other, apologize to the person you bumped into while you were walking somewhere. Like, don't apologize to the internet, to a group of anonymous people. Don't do that. It never goes well. It's not a good thing. It's not a good idea. You're better off just not addressing it if that's the case.
Heavily by everyone for obvious reasons. But looking back on it while trying to understand...
But if you are going to do it, don't do what he did, what they're saying he did right
this
here.
Kind of behavior. It's actually really useful. This is worth looking at in a...
I think you should know who you're apologizing to, not just if you're sorry. You shouldn't apologize to an angry mob of people. All they're going to do is take your apology and be like, look, he admitted he did it. It's more of an admission than asking for forgiveness and receiving forgiveness. The apology is more of a validation of the mob. And you should only apologize to actual people, like that way. Don't apologize to a mob of anonymous people that are mad on social media. That's not the way to go about it.
Discussion of plagiarism, because by being so poorly thought out, it's actually a valuable insight into how people react when they're caught, and the different ways they try to cover their ass. When someone more competent than Philip uses these techniques in a subtler way, we can recognize them for what they are. Thanks, Philip.
There were a lot of circumstances surrounding it, but at the end of the day, I was the editorial lead on it, so if anything, that makes it my responsibility.
He claims there was a complicated process to making the review, with lots of circumstances. The point is to make you wonder what really happened, so you forget what happened. Another way of doing this is to be passive about the events, so it's almost like they happened to him instead of being something he did.
Like I said, I take full responsibility for what happened with the Dead Cells review.
Philip doesn't say, I take responsibility for what I did with my review. He passively takes responsibility for what happened with the review. When someone tries to use language to imply what they did happened by magic, they make it pretty clear.
I'm going to poll you guys on this specific story that he's telling right now. Do you feel that it's plagiarism? He probably read the original article and then changed a bunch of stuff on it after the fact. The question is, did he change enough of it? What do you think?
They're trying to deceive you.
I try to look at all resources that I have available to me before I start formulating my own critical opinions so that I can offer the most cohesive possible review. The bottom line is that what happened with the Dead Cells review was not at all intentional.
Even if whatever happened, it was an honest mistake of some kind. But the problem is, honest mistakes are easy to explain. Dishonest mistakes leave proof behind. Philip didn't unintentionally write a very similar review because he watched another one. He copied their words exactly and changed some of them to try to hide it.
I literally, me personally, I don't make this kind of content, so I don't really have to worry about this kind of stuff, but to me, this is good enough. I don't understand why this is a big deal. Maybe I'm just too lax with this kind of stuff, but to me, it's changed enough. It's a video that, you know, people will watch for a little while and then the traffic will die down.
Hearing Philip try to pretend this isn't what he did means we're not just dealing with a plagiarist, we're dealing with a liar who has more to hide. Philip's next lie was he had nothing more to hide.
I was lucky enough to get noticed on IGN through my YouTube channel, which, if in case you're wondering, is...
I mean, to determine whether or not it's legally plagiarism, it has to go to court. Every single instance of alleged plagiarism has to go to court for it to be legally plagiarism, right? Like, you're arguing that it's a legal thing, but we can't determine legally what it is unless each scenario of alleged plagiarism goes to court.
Is in fact all of my own original work.
A truly amazing defense there. Even if it did happen, which it didn't, it only didn't happen once. But the goal is to preserve what's left of your reputation by getting people to stop looking for more. This behavior goes hand in hand with a special anger directed at...
I mean, like, so when you write papers, they tell you to cite sources and you get the information from a source that you're citing. So, like, the question is, how much do you like jumble how much do you jumble the syntax of it around? How many words do you go through your thesaurus and switch words around to make it as different as possible, but you're still conveying the same information. So it's going to, at its bare bones, say the same thing.
Their news editor, Jason Schreier, tried to imply that my FIFA 18 review was also in...
Sure, I'm jealous of King Cobra JFS. I have nothing on him. Can you stop fucking spamming my chat? I'll just admit what you're saying so that you'll shut the fuck up.
...authentic by claiming that I copied it
I'm jealous
from
of
Nintendo
it.
Life, and that's just so not the case. I mean, maybe he was implying that if you have similarly opinionated reviews, then you're just plagiarizing, or maybe he's just trying to get as many clicks off of my name right now as possible, or maybe he just likes kicking people when they're down. I don't know. I mean, check it out for yourselves and you be the judge.
You have to use your own words to convey an idea. You can't just swap out words. Okay, well, if I'm getting the data from a source, then the source is the original words in my mind for that data. And then I'm expected to change that.
He's referring to how Jason updated his article to include that anonymous tip. Philip accuses him of deliberately attacking him for attention by reporting what he has done. The section about how absurd it is to suggest he copied Scullion's FIFA review is probably why Scullion made his video in the first place. It begins by showing this clip. Bit of an own goal there. By the way, Philip, that's a football pun. Philip is using the reporting on him as a bid to gain sympathy. Yeah, I did something bad, but really, the bad guys are the people trying to see what else I did. Not me, the guy who did all of it. This tactic takes a more...
I usually like to cite sources if I state a fact that is disputed or something like that. I'll be like, well, this is why I said that. But sometimes sources are bullshit too. Who knows?
Direct form.
But one thing that I do know is that it's not very fun being the target of a gigantic lynch mob who wants nothing more than to feed into your destruction. The amount of hate and threats that I've been receiving on social media have been pretty staggering. And I get it. I mean, people are mad, and rightfully so. But it's one thing to go and harass me, berate me with hateful words and threats. And it's a whole other thing to look up my family members and spread hateful comments on their social media accounts. It's just not okay. I mean, not on any level.
Obviously, no one deserves to have their family members threatened over their plagiarism, and there is a valid conversation to be had here about how we treat people who we believe to have done something wrong. And it's really unpleasant seeing someone try to weaponize that and use it as a shield against criticism. He just got done shit-talking a journalist and trying to make him the bad guy, and lying about the FIFA review. Scullion has spoken about receiving a lot of abuse from Philip's fans during this period as a direct result of
this is definitely wrong.
Philip lying like this, another potential reason he had to make that video. If you talk about harassment without being cognizant of the harm you are causing to others right now, you clearly don't give a shit about the problem you just brought up. Philip really didn't help his case by making a Columbo villain bet you can't prove it speech. You can keep looking, Kotaku was an especially silly thing to say, since obviously people did keep looking. Many more examples came.
Yeah, my stance on this sort of stuff is don't make this video. You shouldn't make this video that he just made. The longer it is, the more of a chance there is that you'll say something that just makes everything worse.
To light. His Fire Emblem Warriors video was mostly reworded from one on Nintendo Wire.
Decimating mobs upon mobs of enemies with the simplest of combos, and tearing through forts and mini-bosses with some of the most flashiest and stylistic special attacks.
Most flashiest? His Samus Returns review was stolen from Engadget, and his Bayonetta 2 review from Polygon, and Jason Schreier seemed weirdly invested in reporting on all of it. In several videos, Philip just copied text directly from Wikipedia or other related wikis.
Super Mario Odyssey's theme is highly focused on surprises and travel, and the developers incorporated many of their travel experiences around the world. For instance, elements of the Sand Kingdom were derived from Kento Matakuro's experience during a trip to Mexico, and the Luncheon Kingdom's food aesthetics were inspired by Italy and other European countries. The developers recognized that when traveling to foreign countries, something that really has an impact is the different currencies.
All of my own original work.
On October...
Hold on. His content was reading Wikipedia articles? Damn.
10th, the apology video disappeared, along with 901,000 views worth of other videos from Philip's channel. For a small YouTuber, this means a lot of videos getting privated or deleted all at once. This is actually another important tactic that plagiarists use, to try and hide as much of the evidence as possible. Philip has successfully hidden the extent of what he actually stole in his YouTube videos. Many of Philip's videos are now considered
I can't stop looking at his shirt. Dude, please stop wearing this shirt. You got some kind of tank top under it. I don't like the shirt. I don't like the like burnt up shirt. I don't know what he's going for. I missed the context on this. But the shirt just, I don't know. It's distracting.
Media referenced in articles about the plagiarism or in videos showcasing it, but not as actual copies that you can watch.
I find myself looking at the shirt more than him, like his face, when he's talking.
This is obviously no big loss, but it sucks for me that there's not many archived copies of some of these videos because, like, now I have nothing to cut to as reference footage. It's just, now I just have to stand on my set and talk to you. His article about Octopath Traveler is a fucking doozy. It steals a bunch of shit directly from Jeremy Parish's review at Polygon. And let me just say, buddy, if you can barely string a sentence together, people are gonna know something's up when you're suddenly using words like extrudes. When this was discovered, Parish tweeted,
that word is not in my natural vocabulary, so if I used extrudes, I definitely got that from somewhere else.
Dang, I got extruded right into the middle of a scandal, which is probably the funniest thing to come out of all this. But that's not the only thing he stole for this one article. It also plagiarized one of his co-workers at IGN. Words from Seth Macy's video review of the game made it in too. Here's some clips from Macy's video.
Both its battle system and aesthetics pay loving tribute to the Super NES era. While this isn't merely a modern retread of past classics, but a phenomenal homage with genuinely fresh ideas and a fantastically charming wrapper of old school meets new.
Seth was especially shocked by this, it seems like, and it's not hard to imagine why. To take game criticism and writing original material seriously, only to have someone a cubicle over take a hatchet to your stuff and collect a paycheck for it is so deeply insulting. Things were bad enough that IGN pulled the plug on almost everything Philip ever made for the site just to be safe, something I've never seen an organization have to do before. He even, and this is insane, did a video explaining the Nintendo Switch's HD Rumble feature, and his explanation is just stolen from a fucking NeoGAF post.
A normal rumble is just a motor which spins, creating a vibration, right? Well, HD Rumble uses linear actuators, similar to Apple's Taptic Engine, which is what they use for the new Force Touch stuff in the new iPhones and Apple Watches. See, I believe that these are different in that they are more likely weighted electromagnets.
You believe that? Holy shit. He copied some text from a forum directly into his script and just read it out. Why would you even do that? No, seriously, that's the question we're trying to explore here. Why do people plagiarize? Philip is a great help in finding out.
He should have... I think explained more in detail what those components were. Because it just sounded like weird tech jargon to me. I don't know what actuators. I can't even remember vertical actuators or whatever.
Answers to these questions, because 8 months after all of this died down, he released a second apology. Well, arguably his first.
This one is literally apology.
Since he didn't really apologize in the first one, but still.
Hey everyone. I'm not here to make any excuses or to try and justify my actions. I'm only here to apologize to the people that I've wronged.
He says sorry directly to several of the people he copied from, but to avoid making himself look too bad, he doesn't mention the forum post, or the time he stole from someone else at IGN, or a bunch of the other places. He also doesn't apologize for denying everything, pretending it was an accident, or accusing specific journalists of being out to get him by reporting on it. I think this points to what this apology is actually about, which is appearing more humble and honest to try and repair his reputation. Admitting to the truly embarrassing stuff, or the dishonest shit he said when he was caught, would just make him seem disingenuous. It's hard to come off as honest if the apology includes lying to your face in the past. He wasn't done making excuses either. 2 days later, he uploaded a third apology.
Hey everyone.
I'm getting deja vu from these videos now. In this video, he tried to explain why he did all this. He had insecurities about the quality of his writing and his fear of disappointing people.
I felt pretty confident with my video editing skills and my abilities to create visually appealing content, but I wasn't always confident with my abilities as a writer. And when I got that big break with this awesome gaming company, my insecurities were amplified by like 10 million because the audience was bigger and the expectations were higher. I really wanted to do well, but I was also really scared of saying the wrong thing or putting out a bad review.
Now, maybe it's because he's lied before and still wasn't owning up to the extent of what he did, but I simply do not accept this as the reason. Lots of people have anxiety about their...
Everyone who's here that has not yet liked the stream, please like the stream. It's very helpful to the stream, the more people that like it. Also, feel free to leave comments on the video if you're not watching it live, because comments are very helpful. And a lot of people watch it live, so we don't get a lot of comments after the fact. But if you happen to be watching later on, I wish they would just let people leave comments during the live video. I don't know why they don't do that. That would probably help a lot.
Writing. In fact, I'd say most writers.
They let you do it with premieres. You can leave comments on a premiere.
Do. Not many of them handle it by stealing, so anxiety and pressure feel like an easy excuse. From seeing almost all of Philip's videos, I feel comfortable in calling myself a Philip scholar at this point, I can tell you for a fact that he is bad at making videos. He thinks cinematic transition packs equal good editing, which is the reddest possible flag, but even in terms of basic content, the videos are just bad. His earliest videos are just news about the then upcoming Nintendo Switch, or stuff like the top 5 ways to play the Switch, a console that no one can play.
The single Joy-Con method, and it's probably going to be the least preferred way to play the Nintendo Switch.
I mean, yeah, he's putting out videos that people will be likely to click. So someone sees this video, they're going to click it. Yeah, it's dumb. I wouldn't watch it. But if it works, it works. This is people do this to get paid. That's what he's doing here.
The Switch was out, he branched out into reviewing accessories like carrying cases and stuff and doing unboxing videos. Some videos are just summarizing Nintendo press releases. This is the literal definition of content. It's like it got squeezed out of a Nintendo branded tube somewhere. It's the most how do you do fellow kids energy I've ever seen coming out of a 28-year-old man.
28 years old. Wow. I would have thought he was like mid-30s. He's 28 here? Whoa, really? Huh. Yeah, the backwards baseball cap and everything. Is he like Shabisky's long lost brother?
So he started doing the most egregious audience growth tricks for dummies you can imagine, like constantly having giveaways for subscribers. Philip's following didn't grow organically from people liking him or his work. Those people don't exist. It grew from offering free shit if you subscribed. But I'm going to give Philip some credit here and say at some point he recognized, correctly, that he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, if it's obvious to me watching them, it must have been obvious to him making them, right? So, what do you do if you know you won't get ahead without copying someone better? You copy someone better. And I'm not even...
Well, now we have AI that'll write shit for us. I had ChatGPT just on like the free version of it write this amazing story about Abraham Lincoln going back in time. Or no, what was it? No. It was Barack Obama going back in time to bring dinosaurs back to fight a war for UBI. I'd have to read it to you. It was crazy.
Talking about plagiarism here, even the stuff that isn't stolen is derivative. There's this one guy called Nihongo Gamer who's done some pretty useful tech reviews, and one of them was of an arcade fighting stick for the Switch. It did surprisingly well, and he gives it a proper workout as someone who clearly knows their stuff with fighting games. A few weeks later, Philip coincidentally decided to review the same thing. But Philip isn't a fighting game aficionado, so his live gameplay footage is him playing Sonic and, Mario Kart? Making this review functionally useless as a review of a controller made for fighting games, but Nihongo Gamer also in the same video reviewed this Switch holder that looks like a little arcade machine. Philip, coincidentally, is also reviewing one of these.
I've never seen that before. That's crazy. It's completely unnecessary, but I guess it's kind of cool looking.
In his video.
This game is so much better now.
This makes this game so much better.
This isn't even plagiarism. It's just strange. Philip didn't know how to build an identity of his own, so he just borrowed the style and content of successful videos in an extremely cynical way. He didn't make these videos for the fun of it, or because he cared about making them. It was always just about chasing success by any means necessary, and when that didn't work out, he just borrowed even more directly and got into this mess. In a fairly recent interview, he's described himself during this period as having imposter syndrome. But that's wishful thinking, isn't it? There's a difference between having imposter syndrome and being an imposter. Objectively speaking, Philip pretended to be a reviewer and critic while actually just being a thief and a liar. But I think it's possible to reverse engineer this falsehood and arrive at its core truth. The explanation lies in a little thing he said in apology number 3. I consider it the most meaningful thing Philip has ever said. It's not true, but it's meaningful.
So I took from sources who I trusted and respected and I agreed with, and I tried to change them in a way that I would say it.
Philip claims he sought out reviews from other people he respected to steal and learn from. But, to be blunt, who the fuck is Boomstick Gaming? When this happened, Boomstick's channel had just over 10,000 subscribers. Barely anyone had any idea he existed. And look at the other places he copied from. Mostly random websites, niche gaming outlets, fucking forum posts. If you consider something so obscure you can get away with stealing it, you do not respect it. Philip copied these people because he thought what they were doing was beneath respect. Remember Caves of Steel? I told you it would come up again, you little bastard. You better not have forgotten. In the lawsuit between Ellison Bova and the studios, one tactic the studios used was to accuse them of being the real plagiarists, of ripping off Caves of Steel when they were writing Brillo. The problem is these writers were all friends who knew and respected each other, so they could ask Isaac Asimov what he thought of that.
So we went to New York. I've known Isaac for 25 years. And Isaac, in his deposition, said, I've known Harlan for 25 years. He said, you don't steal from your friends.
It all sounds so simple when Isaac Asimov says it. At the start, I briefly mentioned one of the many times someone's entire idea and thumbnail have been copied. The thief later flipped the thumbnail and changed the color of his shirt. Amazing. This guy's kind of...
Yeah, well, you straight up just take a thumbnail and then you change the color of a shirt. It's my thumbnail now.
For stealing from people, and there was a really notable encounter where he made fun of a guy by joking about how many subscribers he had. This comes off as generic former Vine star narcissism, but it's different.
Yeah, that's like some Sturges level comebacks, bud.
Difficult to ignore that he specifically steals from people he considers beneath him, having a lower number. If you're not as important, your ideas are up for grabs. In 2016, Melania Trump's speech at the Republican National Convention was found to have plagiarized one of Michelle Obama's speeches at the Democratic
Hilarious!
The audience hadn't seen a speech given at the other convention, so none of them noticed, but the media did later. The question going unasked at the time, at least for me, was, why Michelle Obama? Her speech about hope and dignity and respect and dreams had nothing to do with being a Republican. They hate that shit. Why didn't the writer rip off a Nancy Reagan speech about killing the poor or locking up black people for using the drugs her husband gave them? Well, plagiarizing another Republican would annoy Republicans, whose opinion the writer actually cares about. If you respect someone, or want their respect, you generally don't risk a fight with them by jacking their shit. But if you don't like someone, stealing is almost like getting one over on them, isn't it? No one was ever fired or seemingly punished in any way for stealing a speech and pretending they wrote it. And that's because none of these people give a shit about Michelle Obama. They're probably glad it happened. If you broke into Obama's house and stole some of his silverware, most speakers at this convention would pay you a cash prize. Plagiarism is an insult, and don't people love to insult their enemies? Here's something petty I should have forgotten about but didn't. When Lukey Poo made his short-lived video response, while defending himself on the grounds he actually got the idea from someone on Twitch who saw my video, and they're definitely real, he still took the time to explain that he also didn't like I criticized right-wing YouTubers he was a fan of.
I thought hbomber was a relatively decent video creator. I disagreed and didn't like some of the stuff he did, like when he went after Sargon of Akkad and some other YouTubers.
This sat with me. Why was it so important for him to signal his allegiances like this? I think the point was to make his theft an act in a larger culture war. Even if he did rip me off, I'm the bad guy. I don't deserve to be treated properly, so if anything, it's good if he did. You don't steal from your friends, you steal from the guy who made fun of Daddy.
At this point, I'm convinced the only thing hbomberguy needs more than a testosterone shot and some estrogen.
Oh my god, really? This guy, what? Okay. Yeah, we're that's your argument. You're making the hormone argument. You don't have enough male hormones, dude.
Blockers is a lesson in humility.
Okay, where does, and I mean this as a compliment, the most fuckable twink I've ever seen in my life get off telling me how to manage my T levels? Is he speaking from experience? The way Philip pivoted when caught to attacking his accusers feels all too familiar.
That shit is so
lazy.
Some weird Sturges argumentation.
The same treatment from someone like him. There's this indignation to it. I'm better than you. How dare you tell me not to steal? What's emerging here is a social element to theft. Plagiarists seem to have this belief they are better than their targets, more important, more deserving of credit, better politics, a better class of person. Your ideas are wasted on you. They'd be much—
By the way, I am citing my source. This is hbomberguy. I did not come up with this. I am not taking credit for the work here that is being presented.
Better served in my videos. Other games people looked down on what Philip did with so much anger, and people from IGN continued to be aggressive at him for years afterwards, because they understand this instinctively. His actions essentially said out loud, he thinks games writing is so worthless, it's okay for him to steal it. The IGN crew are especially entitled to be angry about Philip though, because he did really damage their credibility. When your company produces plagiarized stuff, it damages people's faith in your institution and its ability to not do that. And it's really hard to get that goodwill back. This leads us, as all things do, to the Angry Video Game Nerd, Part E.
All right, so this is okay, so the votes are in. 57% of you say yes, plagiarism. So, and I'm pretty sure, you know, he's done his homework enough. Some of the stuff at the beginning, I was like, whatever, but a lot of it's just him reading Wikipedia articles. That is strange. But here's Cinemassacre. I like Cinemassacre.
Massacre. The Angry Video Game Nerd is a popular series in which, I don't need to explain this, AVGN made James roll for household name the world over, in cool households. Under the umbrella of his mostly one-man production company, Cinemassacre, James made other things too. One of these, and my favourite, was Monster Madness, where every October James would release a video every single day about an old horror or monster movie. I used to rewatch these whenever I was hungover in university. It always made me feel way better. There's an infectious positivity to hearing someone share something they genuinely enjoy. Good stuff. As the years went on and he got busy with other projects and having children, I mean his wife had the children, you get it, Monster Madness took a back seat. Some years he only made a few new ones. The guy was busy, or maybe he'd lost interest in a project he'd done for over a decade at that point, and that's fair enough. But then Screenwave got involved. For people with better things to do, Screenwave Media is a YouTube network / influencer agency thing who work with various YouTubers, helping them produce content by editing their videos for them, assisting with writing, and helping them find sponsors. They apparently work with a bunch of channels in various forms, but they work especially closely with Cinemassacre. The writing and editing of the AVGN videos became different and weird, like someone else was doing those parts. The channel started making new types of video, which were like James standing kind of awkwardly in the corner while Screenwave employees discussed a movie.
There's oh shit. It was Tony. It was Tony from Hack the Movies. Shit. Hold on.
Various forms, but they work especially closely with Cinemassacre. The writing and editing of the AVGN videos became different and weird, like someone else was doing those parts. The channel started making new types of video, which were like James standing kind of awkwardly in the corner while Screenwave...
Yeah, I've... it's funny because I've seen Justin Silverman in person. I haven't met him, but I stood around and watched him play some arcade games, and he seems like a nice guy. And then there's and James, I saw him at Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and then I've had Tony on DP before. So Kieran is the only one I don't know in any way. Like I've never seen him in person. I've never interacted with him at all.
Employees discussed a movie. There was a Cinemassacre podcast and James often just wasn't in it. The guy whose channel it was became an optional side character. Oh, and everything became packed with sponsorships.
If you don't know, Skillshare...
It got so bad, episode 200 of AVGN is split into 3 videos with separate sponsors, purely because they sold too many brand deals.
Oh, we're gonna have to make the,
That's a good problem to have.
Episode 200, 3 episodes, because we sold too many brand deals, and they didn't tell James.
Under Screenwave, Monster Madness became a different beast. They streamlined production by eliminating the writing. It became James...
Ooh, the Kraken Black Spiced Rum. Did they get a sponsorship through Kraken Rum? That's amazing.
And a rotation of Screenwave employees.
I'm just like, this is cool. This is what everyone really hated, but I'm just like, man, that's pretty sweet. They got a cool neon sign. They got some bottles of Kraken rum right there. Life is good.
No, and James didn't seem to know too well either, discussing the film and trying to come up with something interesting on the spot for 15 minutes. Some of these guys were basically ordered to be on the show by their bosses and seem uncomfortable being there, which makes these being shot on a dungeon set fitting. And you're constantly reminded why this was made at all.
Available now, US only. Release the Kraken!
It's funny, like at the Seattle Kraken hockey games, there's a lot of Kraken rum, product placement there. Obvious. I knew when they named the hockey team here the Kraken, there would be some kind of partnership with Kraken rum, because it just makes sense, right? They're not gonna choose Captain Morgan.
The show certainly wasn't what anyone...
I didn't meet Justin Silverman. I just kind of I didn't talk to him that much. Just kind of said hi to him, and he was playing... someone ported Super Mario Brothers over... It was either Mario or Mario 3 into an Intellivision, and he was playing Mario on an Intellivision console. And I stood around and watched because I had never seen Mario on it. Intellivision's one of the oldest consoles, so it was really weird to see Mario on it.
Had been watching it for, and the creators appeared to notice, because in April 2021, it was announced Monster Madness was coming back, for real, with the old style of scripted videos featuring just James and his short and simple voiceover. Like the old days, but, with Screenwave's help, so not really. Newt Wallen, a Screenwave employee, was enthusiastically tweeting about how he had written 20 of the 31 videos himself, with others writing the rest. The whole point was it was a guy passionately sharing his actual opinions, but that guy wasn't writing them. But some people were still excited. It was a pandemic year, we were all indoors, not much else was going on.
Be sure to check out Cinemassacre's Monster Madness around the world. 31 days, 31 countries.
October rolled around, and so did the first new video.
When I saw the Angry Video Game Nerd panel at Portland Retro Gaming Expo, he told us about his plan for the one of his Halloween episodes, revisiting Jekyll and Hyde. He finally beat the Jekyll and Hyde game, which is a very difficult... It's one of his oldest reviews. He revisited Jekyll and Hyde and actually beat the game, which who knows if he uses Game Genie to do it. When you have a deadline to put out a video and it's a really hard, frustrating game, I would use Game Genie or whatever to get through it really quick.
For the film 28 Days Later, it was weird. Like James was reading something written for him, which he was. But what really stood out was what he was saying. A guy who famously avoids politics and serious real-world events in his videos suddenly started talking about how the film reminded him of the...
Yeah, this is... Really quick here. This is the picture I took of Justin Silverman playing in television at Portland Retro Gaming Expo. And it was Mario that he was playing. I'm making a video. It's taking a little while, but I'm making a video of my trip to Portland back in October at the Retro Gaming Expo. And there's some video of James Rolfe's band playing, which is interesting. I mean, people shit on his band, but he's not a professional musician. They played good enough. I've been to multiple, small venues and seen garage bands play. So I'm not, they were good enough. They worked, it was fun. James just kind of hangs out in the background and plays rhythm guitar, but he's the draw of it. So yeah, Mike is cool. I missed their collaboration.
The horror of 9/11?
And when seeing the film today and being put into that time period, you can't help but think of 9/11 and all those TV images of Ground Zero and Baghdad being devastated by war.
It didn't take long for people to start Googling the words he was saying. A user named ZB123 posted a thread on Reddit showing a huge portion of the video's script was taken directly from a review in Film Comment, a fairly well-known film criticism magazine.
Yeah, and it was one of his writers that did this. It sucks, but you try to hire people to do a certain job and you have faith that they'll do it, but unfortunately this time it didn't pay off for him.
magazine by Dr. Cecilia Syed, who is currently a senior film lecturer at the University of Kent. Let's compare and contrast, shall we?
Horror films are frequently interpreted as allegories of our realities.
Okay, that was quick.
Their fantastic or supernatural elements often spawn from symptoms of social and political tensions in a specific era. 28 Days Later is set in a post-apocalyptic Britain, which has been devastated by an epidemic that within seconds can transform its victims into crazed cannibal killers. Following a car accident, he wakes up from a 28-day coma. Finding the hospital abandoned, he walks out and wanders through the empty London streets.
Yeah, it's I mean, like, basic facts can sometimes seem like, make it seem more like plagiarism, but then there's all these other words and the way they're arranged and everything. It's too precise. It's whole paragraphs that are word for word the same.
Streets. He finds that people have fled the country after the outbreak, but those who remain are either dead or have become infected. The group sleeps in debris of deserted buildings, eats canned food from abandoned supermarkets, and fights off the infected. 28 Days Later aligns itself with the typical loss of individuality plot. It's interesting to read 28 Days Later in terms of the state of affairs of the world. The movie began shooting on September 1st, 2001. You can't help but
Yeah, I know who plagiarized it too. I'm just not saying his name because I'm not trying to shit on him. But yes, it wasn't James Rolfe that did the plagiarism. It was someone working for him.
Think of 9.
And I guess James probably should have. You don't want to have to like double check the work of everybody every time they hand you something. But I guess him being in charge, some of the burden falls in his lap.
11, and all those TV images of Ground Zero and Baghdad being devastated by war. 28 Days Later has political and social undercurrents that resemble our world even now, only make you wonder if history will ever stop repeating itself. But much like our heroes at the end of Day of the Dead, there's a possibility of renewal. Order is born from chaos, and then chaos is born from order.
It was as if Professor Syed's review had been killed and brought back from the dead in a new, tainted form. That's not how the zombies in 28 Days Later work. Okay, it was like her review was the patient zero of 28 Days Later reviews, and it infected the... This is pretty straightforwardly plagiarism. The angry video game nerd had just stolen a film professor's review of a movie. In true AVGN fashion, shit hit the fucking ceiling. What was going on? Initially, Justin Silverman, the lead Screenwave guy, claimed this was a result of a new person who was helping, accidentally mixing some notes into a script, and this would be fixed soon and all the other episodes were fine. The new person thing isn't true. The guy who did it had worked with Justin for like a decade, but I can understand trying to protect someone's identity if you believed they had just made a small mistake. Justin updated the page the video was posted on to say it was being corrected to remove some accidental plagiarism, whatever that means. So whoever did it, they successfully convinced Justin this was an accident. But
either that or he was covering for him, but I have no reason to believe that.
It wasn't. There's the telltale red flag of the awful writing you get when someone who can't write tries to rewrite something they copied.
The movie starts with the usual tropes. Mankind's experiments go haywire, resulting in destructive results.
There's another way you can prove it wasn't accidental. You know, the other excuse we've heard before, how it just happened once and the rest of the videos were fine? They weren't fine. Reddit user Retired Fool went on the website the videos were being hosted on and found the second episode uploaded early. Most of it was from a review on ScreenAgeWasteland.com.
The movie opens with a shadowy figure with multiple hand attachments who calls in the boys, 4 men from a government agency trying to deal with an alien invasion in a small New Zealand town. Peter Jackson plays dual roles of Derek and Robert, who interact through the use of creative camera work and editing. So Jackson handled acting, writing, directing, cinematography, editing, and special effects for the film. Derek is perhaps the best character in the film. He's bloodthirsty, clumsy, funny, and a little too full of himself. He spends a good portion of the film on his own, but Jackson manages it. He's got a good sense of physical comedy that comes in handy when Derek is dealing with a flap of his own skull that keeps allowing pieces of his brain to fall out.
I've never heard of this shit.
Bad Taste is a gloriously gory entry in the splat stick genre.
Splat stick.
And a true cult classic.
I'm not familiar.
Watching it today, you can kind of see inklings of the kind of films Peter Jackson would prove capable of later on through the pacing, camera work, and sheer inventive energy.
So Day 2's video was also plagiarized. The Return of Monster Madness isn't going so well. We know James didn't write this, so who could it have been? Was it perhaps the man who was just bragging about writing most of them himself? Yes, it was. The rest of the Screenwave guys looked at the scripts, and many more examples were discovered. Justin confirmed several more were plagiarized, and Kieran, a video editor who later quit, claimed in a live stream that all of them were.
We went through all the scripts, plagiarized them all. They had multiple, like every single thing was plagiarized. They fucking plagiarized every single thing.
This is a tremendous amount of blatant theft, if true, but soon it became clear almost everything Newt did and said was copied. While I was looking for other stuff Newt made, I saw he was one of the speakers at the Roast of the Angry Video Game Nerd in 2013, and he was proud enough of this he uploaded his bits separately to a channel he was involved with. And just watching it without doing any serious checking, several of the jokes from this jumped out at me immediately.
Justin, I heard Justin was nervous before the show. He couldn't figure out what he was going to wear, either honey glazed or pineapple slices.
This joke is taken from a Gilbert Gottfried roast.
She couldn't decide between the honey glaze or pineapple slices.
Brent Vanderbrook is so deep in the closet, he's having adventures in Narnia.
This is a well-known joke from a 2007 Jimmy Carr stand-up special.
Come on, you're so far in the closet, you're having adventures in Narnia.
People have been ripping this off for years. Here it is posted in 2009, with many of the comments remarking that it's old and stolen even then, and this was almost half a decade before Newt stole it. Here's an in-character Tyrion Lannister Twitter account reusing it a few months before the roast in 2013. I haven't seen the show or read the books, so I'm just gonna assume they read Narnia there too. Don't correct me. While I was researching this topic, I found a Reddit post collecting all the places he stole from for this roast. Obviously there were a bunch. When I found this, I was worried people would think I just got this from here.
Yeah, the cinematic Reddits can become toxic. It's like, just stop watching. You know, like obsessively combing over everything you don't like about something and being part of an anti-fandom. Just stop watching it. This is too much work. This is too much focus. Do something else with your time.
Assure you I do my own research and don't just read Reddit posts. As proof, they haven't found the source for the Narnia one, so don't I feel special? Unless Jimmy Carr got it from somewhere else too. He's already stealing from the British taxpayer, so I wouldn't be surprised. Newt had just been very sloppily taking shit for over a decade. The guy was fired, and from the sounds of things, everyone's bitter about it, especially the guys who had to make new Monster Madness videos to an insanely short deadline.
And then we have to rewrite 20-something scripts and re-edit them in a week.
Even James Rolfe himself got involved. He quite famously avoids talking about controversial stuff, like 9/11, but there was enough confusion he saw fit to descend from his throne of gold and put up an unlisted video explaining what happened.
One of our writers had somehow added a portion that was taken from a pre-existing article. That's unacceptable, and all of us here apologize for letting that sneak in.
He went with the story Justin did. Some new guy pasted something wrong and confused his notes into the script.
The short story is somebody fucked up. Somebody knew.
I'm not sure if this was recorded before this turned out to be a lie, or if they just decided they didn't need to explain it to
Roll
the public
with
in
it.
detail.
They're
That's
new.
Understandable. But either way, it wasn't somebody new. It was somebody Newt. That's your joke for this video. Doing research, I found an interview with Newt about a low-budget horror film he wrote. However, the picture they used was Philip Mewson. I have no idea how this happened.
No! Are you kidding me? No, that didn't really happen, right? Is he making this up? I guess I'm gonna have to watch a little more for him to admit that that's not true, because I can't believe that. No.
But it's very funny. For the creative...
Really? Hold on, really? I was waiting for you to, like, throw a swerve at me, hbomberguy, but that is too weird.
People watching, there's a kind of positive lesson here. You might be mystified why someone would copy stuff for a review. Why is it so hard to just write your opinions on something? But it turns out writing a good review is really difficult. For example, I use the phrase "it turns out" more than once every video by accident because I'm bad at it. I'm not even joking, I've written "it turns out" in the next section without realizing it. That's how fucking bad I am. Being able to write a good review is a unique and difficult skill. Creative people often have trouble recognizing their skills as skills because eventually they feel like second nature, and they don't feel real and practical like building a house or doming. But it turns in that this stuff actually is valuable. If it wasn't, people wouldn't be stealing it. Creativity doesn't feel super special or unique until you realize people have to plagiarize it. Ugh, I accidentally bought this in size twink instead of bear.
Oh, would you like some talcum powder with that, sir? No, it's fine. Oh. I could wring the sweat out from that and probably sell it. It's worth noting that even when the plagiarism was cleared up, the new videos are still weird. The entire appeal of Monster Madness was it was one guy passionately sharing his opinions. If someone else wrote those opinions, even if they're not stolen, what exactly is the point? James put this better himself a few years back before this all began.
I want to make original films. Lots of people say, well, get somebody to help. Well, I can't get somebody else to write the review for me. It's an opinionated thing. Imagine if it was somebody else's words and they say, this movie's great, and then I think, oh, well, this movie sucks. So if I'm doing the review, obviously I have to see the movie and write the script. It's all me.
This is probably why he made a statement about this. Most people watching would have assumed James wrote the words he was saying, especially since he'd been so vocal about this before.
True.
This is an insidious side effect of plagiarism in larger operations. It implicates the person reading the script, not just its writer. But here the plagiarism is just a symptom of the direction Cinemassacre's videos have taken. The unstolen ones are almost as strange as the stolen ones, in the ways James once predicted. You can only hand off so much of your work before it stops being yours. It feels weird to say this about videos where a guy calls a game from 1992 a fuckstick, but the magic is gone. These aren't videos anymore, they're products. Late-stage Cinemassacre is so low effort, the scripts have obvious grammatical errors, and James just reads them without even bothering to change them.
And it's with these survivors that Jim will struggle to stay alive with.
These videos used to come from a place of interest and care.
With these struggles, he will struggle to stay alive with.
To entertain or share something. Now they're made by a production line for only one reason.
ExpressVPN.com/Cinemassacre.
Internet video as a business is at odds with internet video as a medium, dare I say, an art form. Put the gun down. The increased industrialization of videos doesn't necessarily make the videos better, just easier to make. But if you want to make as much money as possible in the short term, you cut those corners and you make as much product as possible. This gives me a chance to respond to the most common question about plagiarism on the internet, which is, why should we care? Does it really matter in the grand scheme if a review of Octopath Traveler or 28 Days Later is stolen? If you think that, you should try extruding that logic a bit further until it reaches the pain receptors of your brain. Internet video isn't a silly playground where teens pretend to be scared of horror games anymore. It's a business. There is real money to be made in this space, or so the emails from the World of Tanks guys keep telling me. So it's definitely worth interrogating the fact people's work is being exploited in these money-making endeavors. This issue will become relevant later, and by later, I mean now. If you want to maximize your profits by making a video every other day, how do you write that much material? You don't! Part Illuminati. It's a pun. I don't need to impress you. In 2021, when I was working on the vaccines and autism video, I needed something to listen to in the background while I built an Argos bookshelf, so out of curiosity, I put on other videos on the topic. One of them was by a channel called Illuminati, whose real name is Blair Zon. I hadn't heard of her before. She seems to do videos covering multi-level marketing schemes, pyramid schemes, and failed businesses, stuff like that. And she seems to make a lot of them really quickly. I wonder how. The video...
Yeah, and I guess Tommy C, kind of started having this person on his streams, and then they broke out on their own and got really big. I had never heard of them before.
Was fine. My phone was several meters away and I couldn't be bothered to reach out and get it and change the playlist, so it just kept going through her anti-vax videos. And at one point, I did a double take.
There was a joint inventor on these products, a man named Hugh Freudenberg, a former immunologist who has been long controversial. In 1989, he was caught up in a bizarre lawsuit with the Food and Drug Administration, which told him he had to stop injecting his autistic patients with blood products.
I remember pausing, budget B&Q hammer in hand, and thinking, haven't I heard this exact sentence before?
In 1989, he was caught up in a bizarre lawsuit involving the Food and Drug Administration, which told him he had to stop injecting his autistic child patients with blood products.
An interesting thing about the MMR scandal is literally all of its big discoveries can
and then she plagiarizes
be attributed to the work of one man, Brian Deere, whose years of diligent journalism are basically why we know what we do about Andrew Wakefield. His 2004 documentary, MMR, What They Didn't Tell You, effectively berserk eclipsed Wakefield's career as a legitimate doctor. It's great, and Brian uploaded it to his own YouTube channel for free in 2014, so anyone can go watch it. This version has the timecode burned in at the bottom, which is kind of cute, but if you wanted to make your own video about the subject and use that as source footage, that's kind of annoying to look at.
All right, so we are going to get further into this video, but I do have to go to the bathroom because I drank a lot of coffee this morning. You know, the usual. So it's not going to take longer than a couple minutes. I will be right back, and then we'll get a little further into this. Don't go anywhere. All right, I'm back. I saved you all from the dimensional merge. Everyone, before we get back into the video here, please consider helping us with our weekly goal. All of the Streamlabs from this stream goes towards our weekly goal. It's right there. It's pinned in the chat. If you want to send us a couple bucks, you can do that just by going there, and we can get a little closer on that goal before Saturday. We've got another stream coming up on Thursday. Nope. Ha! You thought I was going to let the merge happen. No, we are not allowing the merge to happen this time.
So I spent like 2 full days of my life trying to find a version without the timecode, and I finally found what I think is a copy of the original broadcast from 2004. Harrowing stories of child abuse do not pair well with teasers for the TV premiere of Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, MMR, measles, mumps, rubella. I had to get this when I was a kid. It's a vaccine that I think you have to go to school so you don't pass the measles, the mumps, or rubella. I don't know what rubella is, but I know it's like a virus that is part of this overall vaccine here.
When Dr. Wakefield launched the MMR scare back in 1998,
I used footage from Dia's documentary in my video, explained how important it was, thanked Brian for all of his hard work, and even recommended his book on the subject that had just come out. And he actually emailed my producer Kat with metrics showing people actually did go out and buy the book after seeing my video, which is great. I love knowing that my audience actually reads books. Thank you so much. So, the reason the Illuminati video sounded so familiar was because I had just rewatched that documentary.
Then in 1995, he was suspended from practicing medicine.
Then in 1995, he was suspended from practicing medicine
and made to pay a $10,000 fine for his misuse and misprescribing of controlled drugs.
And made to pay a $10,000 fine for his misuse of prescribing controlled drugs.
Professor Freudenberg has long been controversial.
Hugh Freudenberg, a former immunologist who...
Wow, that dude looks really old.
...has been long controversial.
Been long controversial? So... this is weird. She wasn't...
I think it would be has long been controversial, not been long controversial, right? Wouldn't that been the right way?
Quoting Dia. She was saying his words out loud as if she wrote them.
So what's happening here? Well, after the bookcase seemed to stand up on its own, despite all the pieces mysteriously left over, I watched the video properly and noticed she does acknowledge Brian Deere and the documentary pretty openly.
In 2004, Brian Deere came out with a documentary entitled MMR, What They Didn't Tell You.
Blair watched a documentary and then downloaded it and used it to make her own. In the first 20 minutes, she plays a chunk of the documentary, or just quotes it.
Oh, is either grammatically correct? I had no idea.
25 times. More than once a minute, you're hearing something Brian Deere said from his mouth or hers. So this video is lazy? I'm personally insulted that she just used the version of the documentary from Deere's YouTube channel with the timecode burned in. That gets to me a little bit after the effort I put in, but that doesn't make it plagiarism. It's just not very good. And hey, it's not like this is her one source. She quotes a lot of other places.
Me fail English? That impossible.
Too. Or does...
Here's some of the times she quotes someone else in the video. Wow, look at all this research she must have done. One thing though, what's the source for these quotes? Okay, we need to talk about how to cite a source for a second. If you watch any non-Illuminati video essay, you'll see these pretentious little commies put some text in the corner telling you where their quote comes from. This is so you know what they're quoting, so you can check it or go find it and learn more if you want, and to give proper credit to the people whose ideas or knowledge they're borrowing. If you're using someone else's words in a video you intend to make money off, it's very important to give proper credit and attribution. Listing where the quote is from is important, not just so it's easy for people to find and verify it, but it's useful context which helps people interpret what they're seeing. If someone showed you a quote that made a person look bad, you might feel...
I remember writing research papers and just creating what was it called? Is it a bibliography? Isn't that what it is? I don't remember. I don't write essays.
Feel a bit cheated if they didn't mention its source is a blog by someone you've never heard of that doesn't exist anymore. I have a little rule for quoting that other creators seem to use as well.
Citations, okay.
If someone saw a clip of your video out of context, would it be possible for them to tell you're quoting someone and where it's from? Blair, for some reason, doesn't cite her sources. Here's a part where she quotes Andrew Wakefield.
Wakefield also stated, mumps, measles, and rubella together might be too much for the immune system of some children to handle.
I love there's a tiny Andy there for some reason, but not saying where he said this is pretty bad citation. But this isn't a mistake. Blair is hiding the source on purpose for a reason. You see, this quote is from the same documentary again. Brian Deere plays a clip of Wakefield saying it at a conference.
Measles, mumps and rubella given together may be too much for the immune system of some children to handle.
Why didn't she just play the clip?
Ha! Good question.
She had it downloaded. Well, because she's already played so many clips from this documentary, it looks ridiculous. So she started quoting it, and just not telling you she's quoting the one thing she watched. I wonder where all the other quotes come from.
And more still, nurses were leaving, saying they don't...
So all of the quotes are just from this one documentary.
Don't like what's being done.
Nurses were leaving and saying they didn't like what was being done to these children.
It needed 3 people to hold these kids down
in some cases just to have blood taken. I feel very sorry for the children who I feel were being abused.
This study had in fact begun with a contract from a group of solicitors that were
trying to sue MMR manufacturers.
Chadwick said he had hoped the ordeal, when it hit the news, would die its own death.
It includes injecting mice with measles virus.
He injected mice with measles,
extracting their white blood cells,
and injected the stuff into pregnant goats.
Ha! They're saying injected the stuff into pregnant goats.
This is amazing. She just quotes people from this one documentary and pretends she did any work.
So she took the whole documentary and just took all the information and quotes and clips from it.
Eventually, she stops bothering to even make it look like a quote and just starts saying Brian Deer's words out loud. And that's how the stuff at the beginning happened. She got so lazy she stopped bothering to pretend she wasn't copying the documentary.
In 1989, he was caught up in a bizarre lawsuit involving the Food and Drug Administration, which told him he had to stop injecting his autistic child patients with blood products. Then in 1995, he was suspended from practicing medicine and made to pay a $10,000 fine for his misuse of prescribing controlled drugs.
MMR, what they didn't tell you, has been chewed up and spat back into your mouth like you're a little baby bird. My favorite part is when some of what she's saying appears in quotes for some reason, attributed to lawsuit with FDA.
Lawsuit with FDA.
Like, no, Brian Deer said that.
He established a scientific...
Yeah, it's like she didn't read the court papers for the lawsuit.
System that would satisfy Wakefield and Pounder for testing.
And Pounder? Wait a second, who's Pounder? This Pounder guy never comes up again.
Quarter Pounder. It's Quarter Pounder, also known as the quartering.
She brings him up here by mistake because she's paraphrasing another section of the documentary.
He established a scientifically valid system that would satisfy Dr. Wakefield and his head of department, Professor Roy Pounder.
Roy Pounder is an important character in the story. Blair has cut him out completely to save time, but she accidentally kept this one reference. This makes the copying kind of blatant. She's referencing a guy who exists in the documentary and not her video.
Obviously, stealing someone else's words is plagiarism, but on a more zoomed out level, so is copying an entire documentary and trying to hide it. Like, obviously there's something wrong here. Here's a hint. If you're trying to trick people into thinking you're not quoting the thing you're quoting, you're probably doing plagiarism. But here's where it gets interesting. Blair knows people might notice
plagiarism.
this, so she's come up with a defense mechanism. The video has a link in the description to a list of sources, where stuff she quoted or showed in the video gets linked. This is normal, lots of people do this, although usually they cite them when they use them in the actual video, but still. It's an unlabeled collection of links that's difficult to sort through, but if you keep digging, eventually you find a link to Brian Deer's YouTube upload of the documentary. So now if anyone criticizes the fact she ripped it off, she can say, no, I was using a source, I cited it, check, it's in my list. Somewhere. And she uses this flimsy excuse to basically steal anything she wants. Blair frequently plagiarizes people, never mentions they exist in the video or cites them anywhere, but she puts a link in a list no one will read. So that makes it okay, right? The video we've been talking about so far is the second in a series of 3 about Andrew Wakefield. Here's part of the first one where she talks about his early career.
He became a fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons in 1985 and a year later was awarded a Wellcome Trust Traveling Fellowship to study small intestine transplantation in Toronto, Canada.
All right, so this is like a 3-hour-long video, and he's done a lot of homework on this, so it is a lot of it. I mean, he's very thorough. I just don't know how much longer I want to just keep seeing the same examples, like different examples of the same shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, all these people on YouTube, I guess, have evidence that they plagiarized a lot of their work, and they're kind of like internet. Oh God, Spoonie. Why is Spoonie being subtitled into Russian?
Titling his videos didn't just make him accessible to a new language, but to the original language too. That's pretty cool. But you can go deeper than sub. You can dub.
Huh?
Вашу мать! So I wasted...
Yeah, interesting video. I can't watch it all, right? I can't watch all 4 hours of it. Internet historian? I don't even know where that is on here. Bob Vids. Let me see. I have a feeling, though, it's just going to be more of the same. Just exposing somebody different. There were a few instances where I was like, oh, is that really plagiarism? But then there were some where it was just very easy to see that it was. Anyway. Damn it, I don't know if I want to watch this, but I guess I'll try. I don't know, man. Nah, I don't know if I want to. I'm not doubting it. I mainly just wanted to see Cinemassacre, and then I went a little too far. He obviously knows what he's talking about. hbomberguy. Let's see what I do have. Oh, shit. I do have something that I'm getting right now. There's nothing new with Sturges. It sounds... My eardrums are bleeding.
A little sloppy about how it do, YouTube, how it do.
It's a little sloppy.
Osborne's birthday, and I poured myself a drink. Drinking on that Jack Daniels, A&W root beer, and A&W cream soda. It's smooth.
A&W root beer, A&W cream soda, and Jack Daniels. I think he could go without either the cream soda or the root beer and just use one of the two. And then, you know, honestly, that might not be such a bad drink. He's not the worst guitarist ever. No, that's a huge claim, you know. Lil Wayne was a really bad guitar player. Do you ever see Lil Wayne try to play guitar? He was one of the worst guitar players ever. Easily one of the worst guitar players ever when he tried to play guitar. Like, who told him that was a good idea? Yeah, you know what? You can play guitar in this song.
Also got a beer to try called Black Tooth. It is from the brewing company Black Tooth called Saddle Bronc. I got it because the name said Black Tooth. It sounded similar to Black Sabbath, so I'm like, you know, let's grab a 6-pack of that and get ourselves a little fifth of Jack and enjoy our Sunday, shall we? Shredding some guitar. And I'm getting getting better at the shredding, but I can hear where it needs improvement, or that noise, you know.
No, that is just nonsense that you're playing.
That was clean. That's more like it. I get better at shredding one day at a time.
I think, thank you so much, Bobby Two Hands. I appreciate it. I think Cobra needs to first not try to learn shredding and just learn like basic guitar fundamentals. You know? I'm trying to get to at least 30% of the goal in this stream. So if there's anyone out there that wants to help out, please do so if you would like to help out. And by the way, after our next DP episode, we're doing the booking committee, and the commissioner, Jeff Holiday, will actually be present for the booking committee for the first time ever. So something to think about. I can tell he tunes his guitar to drop D. So when he plays a power chord on the deepest strings, he only has to hold them down on the same fret.
I'm not gonna go live to prove anything, man.
I don't gotta go live.
I'm just enjoying my Sunday, drinking, shredding.
God, I would love to be drinking right now. Yeah, I do love my distortion. I don't like a ton of reverb. I just turn up the reverb a little bit. I love wah pedals because you can make anything sound cool with a wah pedal, which I do. I do have, like, my amp is all digital, so I have a pedal, but it's basically a controller, and it has a wah function. You can also use it to turn the you can use it as a wah, but you could also use it as a volume control. And then I have 6 buttons on it to program whatever else I want, like I can have a clean channel, a distortion channel, other effects. I can set up my effects and program each button on the pedal. My amp already has tape echo on it. It has a whole bunch of shit. It has reverb, and it has sweep echo, tape echo, and delay. It has tremolo. It has phaser. It has chorus, and it has flange. And then it also has like different types of distortion, like types of crunch and some like twangy kind of sound too. There's like different amp models. There's clear, twang, blues, crunch, metal, and then there's one called insane where the distortion is just like insane. It's not the greatest amp ever. It's a line 6. It's like a mid-grade amp, but I like all the built-in effects because they're fun to play around with, and if I want to record it, I can mic it and make it sound pretty good. I have 2 amps. I have one down here next to me, and it's how many watts is it? I think it's like 75 watts. Yeah, I think it's 75
Everyone
watts.
Needs to help Ben get some drinks. I'm shredding today.
Please.
I'm shredding cheese for mac and cheese, and I'm high as hell.
What types of cheese do you put in your mac and cheese, Teddy? Thank you. I appreciate the help. I'm working on it. I'm pretty sure Spin Till You Spew is coming back again this month. And it has to be me and Jeff again because we can't find anyone else to really compete in it, But It would be interesting if anyone else ever did want to step up to Jack. He's beaten me. He beat me the last time. I threw up everywhere, all over the floor here. Oh, Negan will compete? That would be insane. You're not a drinker? Well, then you might lose, unless you're just ridiculously good at trivia. Yes, Magicus, you don't... Yeah, Magicus, you can't do it. Billy had to stop doing it. He can't drink because of his heart issues. I'm so glad I went to the doctor, like, for my annual checkup, and my cholesterol is finally in a normal level and everything. I'm telling you, like, eating every other day really helped for me, personally. Sometimes it sucks having to not eat. But the day I do get to eat it makes it extra special. I'm not saying everyone should do that, but that's what I do. And then like the exercise. I didn't stop drinking altogether, but I can't drink 2 days in a row. You know, I can't drink. I can only drink one day, and then I have to take the next day off no matter what. Yeah, eat one reasonable meal a day is good too. I mean, however you find a way to make it easy. For me, it had to be every other day. Oh, you know how to hold your alcohol. Okay, well, I mean, if you, we can discuss this. I mean... You have to have a bottle of rum, a bottle of vodka, a bottle of tequila, and a bottle of whiskey in order to play. And then I guess on my end, I would just be clicking the button that spins the wheel for everybody. It could work. Vodka, whiskey, rum, and tequila. Vodka, whiskey, rum, tequila. Yeah. We used to have dumb shit like hot sauce, and weed was part of it at one point in the early days. But now we don't do that. Yeah, vodka, whiskey, rum, tequila. I'll tell you what, when you have to do like a double shot, or like a double and one is vodka and the next one's tequila, that's what got me. I think that's what got me last time. It might have just been a double of tequila. I can't remember. I don't remember.
Can't really play Crazy Train in this tuning, can you? Sure you can't gonna find it.
Oh, yeah, but by the way, before the dono came in, as I was saying, I have 2 amps. I have a 75-watt amp next to me here, and then in another room, I have a half stack that's like 150 watts. It can get insanely loud. I hardly ever use it because it can just get insanely loud, but it's awesome. It's a fucking awesome amp. With all the same features that this... It's weird that these amps can like do a firmware update, like to get new stuff on them. There's an app that you download on your computer, and then you plug it, you use a USB to plug it into your computer, and you can run a firmware update that will like update the firmware and give you like newer features and that kind of stuff that they add to the amp. It's kind of cool. And you can do all your presets on your computer so that they're more precise than like trying to turn a knob to do it. There's like a whole app you can use. It's very strange how it works. The pedals that connect, do you guys know like a Cat 5 cable That's how my pedal connects to my amps, by a Cat 5 cable. It's very strange. Like an Ethernet cable. No, I think category 5 is what we still use for like Ethernet cables. It's like the size of the clip, I believe. I think Cat 4 is the old phone lines, I believe. I don't know. I got my A+ certification a long time ago, and I used to know all this stuff. A Cat 4 cable is like the old school telephone cables, like landline cables. And then a Cat 5, I believe, is like it's all in the clip on the tip of the cable. That's what makes it a Cat 4 or a Cat 5. I'm talking about the actual clip is how they do the category, like Cat 4. Like right here, Cat 4 cable. Oh, RJ is the head? Okay, I'm getting it. Okay, Cat is speed, RJ is the head. I'll take your word for it. It's been forever since I learned that shit. And I never have to use it, so why would I remember it, you know? I got a bunch of the CompTIA certifications. There was like Network Plus and Security Plus and all that shit. But they stopped giving you lifetime certifications, which is bullshit. And it was just them making money. So like all of mine have expired. I should have got them before they expired, but who cares? Yeah, you're catching up. This isn't an official DP episode.
Big bitch to a spin till ya spew.
Whoa.
Neither of us are drinkers. The trivia would be cool if it was a DP theme. See who the biggest fan is or something like that. Be cool if we swapped the drinks to Jagger.
So
Loco.
The trivia. The trivia is usually a game that we play that both people can like play remotely. We usually do its quiz time. It's not DP trivia. It's just like general knowledge trivia. I don't know if Egghead's a big drinker. I don't know. I don't think Egghead will do it, but I don't know. I don't want anyone to like die playing the game.
Mother!
That's not how you play it.
Ozzy's a badass motherfucker! Yeah, I don't give a fuck how it sounds, man. Just gonna shred
I'm trying to remember Mother now. Okay, I remember it now. It's a really easy. Yeah, Cobb's on lead. Yeah. I thought I remembered it was like a stretch chord. It's a really easy song. I can't remember. I thought I remember it being... Oh, God. He's so out of tune.
Keep rocking, you two, no matter what anyone says.
Yeah, let's rock. Just play nonsense with them.
Mother, tell your bogolims not to huff the dust. Tell your bogolims not to lose puff. Tell them not to blow that weed he doesn't need in his cage. Mother.
Yeah, I used to know how to play a bunch of those Danzig songs because I had that first Danzig album, and I used to sit around and play it all the time because it's really easy. Sometimes it's cool to just like sit around and play easy stuff, you know? I have to remember how to play it though. I have to actually listen to the song.
Record the Seggy bitch boy, I challenge you. I'm going for that head. I'm not a hero. Just doing what has needed to happen for years. I'ma challenge him really soon officially.
Okay, you can challenge him. I don't know if he'll do it. Let's check out the Bite-Size Cobra November recap. These are always interesting to watch.
After coming off a disappointing and boring Halloween, Josh started November with the same amount of enthusiasm. Although Josh was unbanned and could go live anytime he wanted, he chose not to. He instead opted to make boring videos like short joke videos, food and drink reviews. On November 2nd, Josh showed off how incredibly lazy he'd gotten by doing donation shoutouts for the entire month of October. Josh made an additional $711 and some odd cents in October, bumping the total donations from $758 to $1,478 and some odd cents. This begs the question, is he truly too scared to go live, or has he just given up on live streaming because he's receiving a steady amount of donations anyway? On November 8th,
I do extra streaming to get more donations.
Josh posted a soda review, and fans on the King Cobra JFS subreddit spotted that he may have chipped his front tooth. Josh would not address or confirm that he had in fact chipped his tooth, and would purposely attempt to hide his top teeth in the coming days. On November 8th, Josh received a 2-week ban from YouTube for his new Talking Tom video making fun of the trolls. This is his second strike.
Yes, Danger Dude, I saw your DM. We'll work on it.
Deleted.
Probably do it.
Josh would post on Facebook
Thursday
at around
or Saturday.
1 a.m. and said that although he was banned from YouTube for 2 weeks, he would win because he owns the trolls. Josh also attempted to appeal the YouTube ban, but it was rejected. On November 9th, Josh posted a video to Facebook complaining about his trolls getting him banned for mass flagging his content. He also had green hairspray on his scalp.
What do, Facebook? I have a 2-week ban on YouTube because my trolls cannot take it. The Talking Tom video I posted on Facebook is the video I posted on YouTube. The YouTube trolls decided to mass flag the video, and it got me a 2-week strike on YouTube. So now I got 2 weeks before I can post videos again. It ain't gonna affect me that much. To be honest, my trolls need the break more than I do. YouTube needs to take better care of its creators.
To let off some steam, Josh made more merch mocking the trolls on Customized Girl. On November 10th, Josh posted a puff update to Facebook. His enclosure looked extremely clean for Josh's standards. For the next couple of days, Josh posted his regular type of videos.
R.I.P. Puff.
Do you want to drink mead with me? Do you want to fill the jug with everything? Oh, faha.
Father!
On the 10th, he made a short video with Puff, played the national anthem for Veterans Day, and even made a new—
Oh, Egged, you're being challenged to spin till you spew by Negan, and I told Negan that you probably wouldn't want to do spin till you spew, but you're being challenged, so I don't know what to tell you.
New mead. On the 11th, Josh did a few drink reviews, a drink combo with eggnog, and ended the night with 20 minutes of quote-unquote stand-up comedy. On November 15th, a troll began harassing Josh via texting him. This elicited a response from Josh, and he sent the troll a picture of himself, and we could see his rapidly declining rotten teeth. This picture would not only prove he chipped his front tooth, but the rest of his teeth looked unsalvageable.
The top
On
teeth,
November
the most.
15th,
It's from smoking. Like, his bottom teeth aren't as bad as his top teeth. His top teeth are rotted out because he smokes. It gets all that nasty, like, nicotine tar all over his teeth and then doesn't brush it off. That's what that is.
Taste took this opportunity to dunk on Josh again and made fun of his teeth. On November 16th, Josh posted on the Facebook group Casper's Lost Pets and said that he had lost his bearded dragon Puff and needed help. Trolls were quick to troll Josh in the comments, and others were quick to judge the authenticity of Josh's story. Many of the fans speculated that Puff was dead, and Josh was making up this story to make it seem like it wasn't his fault. Fans also drew parallels with his fake story about his first sex doll that was stolen for scrap metal.
That is true.
Only to be revealed that Josh had cut up the sex doll himself. Although many speculated that Josh was making up this story, a troll would claim they found Puff, but weren't responding to Josh and his sister Tiana's Facebook messages. Cool Taste continued to poke the bear and added to the drama by making fun of Josh losing Puff. After a few days with no update from Josh, the Facebook page Casper's Lost Pets locked the comments section because of mass trolling. On November 17th, Instagram user and troll Caustic Flesh posted a phone recording of himself talking to Josh and his mother Tanis. The troll told Josh that he had allegedly found Puff, but he was dead.
Hello?
Hey, this is Josh.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Just trying to find my bearded dragon and get him back.
I have some bad news.
What's that?
Your bearded dragon has passed away. And I had meant to call your mom because she had gotten a hold of me about it. I was really, like, ashamed and upset about it that I couldn't do anything.
Well, do you have his body, dude?
I sent him out into the river.
There's no river by my apartment.
No, like, I drove out to the river. I have a vehicle.
So we're at the apartment. Is that where you are?
Not currently, no. Not right now. I'm actually fairly new. I'm actually fairly
That's Josh's sister right there.
new to town. I'm at this bar called Frosty's right now.
He's at Frosty's where Cobra isn't allowed to go. I'm at this bar called Frosty's right now. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous.
I see.
Again, I'm really sorry about all this.
Yeah, if you're really sorry, you would have made more of an effort to get a hold of us.
Well, you know, I like I said, I had a job and I had plans to bring him to the Metro Animal Services. And
then why didn't you?
Well, I didn't make it in time. I woke up and there he was.
On November 19th, Josh finally made a video for Facebook and gave an update on Puff.
What up, Facebook, social media? Puff has been missing for 5 days. We've been looking for him nonstop. I've been putting reports out, just spreading the word, doing what I can to look for him. And I still haven't found him yet. It is. My depression is through the damn roof.
He seems exactly the same. He doesn't seem depressed. He just seems the same, like he usually is.
I love Puff.
So did Egghead agree, by the way? Did Egghead agree, or did he just leave without responding? Did Egghead say he agreed or not? I don't know.
I love him. He's my favorite lizard. Now, the websites I've been getting my expert research from have said, and I quote, that if Puff doesn't show back up in the next 11 days, then it might be time to panic. And I don't know what to fucking do. I do not know what the fuck to do. I've already filed a report with Metro. I've stuck up missing flyers at my apartments. I spent like the last 5 days combing through the grass looking for him. My dad has practically helped. My mom has helped. My sister Tiana is helping. And people keep asking me about Puff. Where is he at? Where is he at? Where is he at? I don't fucking know, dude. And how you think I fucking feel, dude?
Yeah, he's the victim, everybody. Worry about Josh and how he feels.
You know, I love Puff to death. And if I lose him, I'm never going to be happy in life again. Now, about 2 days ago, I lost this cup and then I found it. So I'm confident that I'll find Puff again.
Well, the cup doesn't have to eat and be kept warm.
Now, Metro would have been more quick to respond to my missing Puff if my fucking asshole YouTube trolls hadn't harassed them. And there's nothing you can do about it. Pets run away. It's what they do. They're animals. They're instincts. We're going to keep looking for them as much as we can. And if I never find them, dude, I'm going to be so fucking devastated.
Egghead is too scared to respond. What a big old gate pussy. Egg puss puss. Egg puss. Egg
wow,
puss,
wow,
egg
Egghead,
puss,
do you hear
egg
this?
Puss, egg puss.
Egghead, do you hear this?
Puff offed himself because Egghead is such a pussy. He didn't want to live in a world.
He didn't want to live in a world with you, is what it said. It didn't read the whole thing, but that's what it's... Yeah, Egghead, did you hear that? Egghead.
Make me happy in life ever again. Not even my clock tower dream house. And I would sacrifice my clock tower dream house to see Puff safely return to me in my arms so I can put him back in his tank. And I filed a report with the police department, and they said, well, we'll get someone out there as soon as we can. That was like 3 days ago. And I'm like, okay, they actually do have people that are, you know, part of the non-emergency pet finding squad. If Puff don't turn up in the next 6 days, well then, I guess I'm fucked.
Later that day, Josh's sister Tiana provided an update on the Casper's Lost Pets Facebook page. She would go on to say that Puff had not been found and complained about the trolls tormenting her brother. Tiana would also go on to tell the full story of what happened to Puff. Josh had allegedly taken Puff outside, he jumped off Josh's shoulder and ran away. Tiana said that this was an honest mistake and Josh had no malicious intent at all. Josh's dad Clint joined in on the discussion and just complained about the trolls with the same old bullshit spiel that the trolls are evil and Josh is innocent. Josh was so distraught with—
There's no way Puff is surviving in the wild. Puff is not indigenous to the area Josh lives in, and now it's winter time there. Or almost winter time anyway. And it gets very frigid, it's just going to keep getting colder and colder, and he's a warm weather animal. He is dead. He is dead. I mean, assuming Cobra's story is even true, something else could have happened, and that was the best story Cobra could come up with.
the whole ordeal, he made a 5-part Mead update video on Facebook. On November 21st, Josh provided an update on Puff. Yep, still lost. Time was ticking, and Josh in his head only had 4 more days to find Puff. Josh even got the assistance of a bearded dragon owner to help find Puff. So you know it's serious. Whilst on vacation to Arizona to see his grandparents, Josh posted on Facebook several times and received criticism from his Facebook friends that he was going on vacation.
I noticed British people like to use whilst. Instead of saying while, you say whilst. It's interesting, because, yeah.
Instead of finding Puff, it's putting Josh's love for Puff.
Every time I hear it, I'm like, huh, that's an interesting way to say while.
Into question.
I say whom, actually. I actually still use whom.
This is proof Cobra needs to be taken care of. His lack of empathy and only showing anger as an emotion makes wonder if he really cared about Puff.
He needs to be taken care of because he can barely take care of himself. That's why he shouldn't have been given the position, or he shouldn't have been in the position where he was caring for something else. He can't brush his own teeth. He can't take care of his own teeth. So why would he make a priority out of, like, something else, like another living thing?
Josh didn't post much on Facebook, just the food he was eating, and a sweet selfie. On November 25th, Josh made a short video for YouTube asking all of his fans to mass flag my channel because I was live streaming with the Grease Wizard. Subscribe to my second channel, please. Josh was told I was talking shit about him and Puff, but I really wasn't. I actually believe some of his story about him losing Puff, for the most part.
Hey YouTube, ignore bite-sized Cobra videos. Just flat out ignore him and mass flag his videos. One of my fans informed me that he was
You shouldn't do that,
and
Cobra.
talking mad
That's not
smack
sweet boy
about me
shit.
and Puff, and I really don't appreciate that. I don't think my trolls realize how miserable they are, and they couldn't handle being bullied like I could. I love my lizard, and I love animals. And bite-sized Cobra videos can choke on a bag of you-know-whats.
Of what?
Josh would end up deleting this video the next day, as he most likely feared his trolls reporting him for trying to weaponize his audience to report my channel. On November 26th, Josh returned from his Thanksgiving vacation in Arizona and spoke briefly about Puff being missing, but was more upset that Ozzy said publicly that he only had 10 years left to live because of his health issues.
Only 10 years? That seems a little long, honestly. Like, he's looking pretty bad to me, but okay.
Josh would also complain about YouTube's moderation and the trolls abusing the automated system.
Back from a Thanksgiving break.
Oddly enough, having hygiene issues are signs of being autistic to the point where the state can make a welfare check.
Yeah, his teeth are just like falling apart in his mouth, and he wears the same clothes every day, and it's just...
So I had an amazing Thanksgiving. I enjoyed my family's company despite my trolls' worst attempt at ruining it. These people are fucking beyond sad, but we're not going to get into that. Ozzy Osbourne says he has at least best 10 years left to live, reveals vertebral tumor. Now he's got 10 years to possibly beat it and get back up on stage, so I want to keep my hope up for my idol, dude. Cheers. If you don't see me on YouTube very often, I'm still going to make videos, just not nearly as much, because I kind of feel like YouTube doesn't give a shit about its creators. But I make a video sticking it to my YouTube trolls, and they get
Stick it to those YouTube trolls, Josh.
so butthurt over it, they mass flag it, and the video gets taken down. It's what it is.
It is what it is, too.
So here's hoping I get Puff back. Worst case scenario, I'll see him back. Or I should say least worse.
Least
in, like,
worst
the spring when
scenario.
the snow thaws out and everything.
And I'll be back.
On November 27th, Josh lazily sold a batch of 4 wands on Etsy.
He sells them for $448. Dude, you know how many wands I'd be making? No one would want to buy them if I made them, at least not for this much. That's fucking crazy. I'd be pumping them out all day. I would reserve a 30 to 40 hour week of work pumping out wands. That's what I would do. If I could sell every 4 of them for almost $450, that's ridiculous. That's not how that works, Stabby. That's not how... You make as many wands as people are willing to pay for a price. He could easily make more. Okay, whatever.
For $448. Josh then went live until 3 a.m. and made way over $440 from YouTube Super Chat donations, including a $100 Super Chat from YouTuber Turkey Tom.
Even his teeth are gone.
Huh?
Yeah, one of my teeth chipped off, and I don't know. It's just for me not brushing them, and I accept full responsibility.
I was just talking to Turkey Tom, trying to put him in contact with Cobra recently.
That it is what it is. Am I going to change? Probably not. If I got to get dentures, I don't give a shit. Life is full of choices, and you accept the consequences when you make those choices. That's just something you have to learn. If you're going to be...
Yeah, if Cobra knew what was up, he'd find some people to help him make the wands. I mean, honestly, what he should do is he should buy at least one more lathe, and him and his dad can make multiple... I guess his dad probably doesn't have the time. He says his dad helps him, but I'm guessing his dad doesn't have the time to come and make wands with him all the time. He should find someone else. This is too complex for him to figure out. He should find someone else that's willing to work with him, and they should both make wands. This is what Chris Chan's doing right now. Chris Chan, with at least one other person, is making Sonichu medallions and selling them for a ridiculous price. And rocks, too, but that's a totally different thing. Rocks from a driveway.
A fucking disgusting asshole and not brush your teeth, and this is what's going to happen, you know? It is what it is. Show us your toothies, baby. Is what you want to see? How disgusting my teeth are? Yeah, I'm aware of the fact that my teeth are disgusting. I don't give a shit. Finding Puff is more important than my teeth right now. And I'm not going to be able to find Puff until the fucking snow thaws, because there's a good chance he burrowed himself underground and he's staying warm and hibernating, because that's what bearded dragons do. It's nerve-wracking, to say the least. No, they cannot. I would not. No alcohol for the lizard. I'm like,
Again, you're not thinking realistically. He can't make more wands. If he makes more, the magic won't be as powerful.
Yeah,
If
sure.
he made as many as possible, think of all the chaos that could happen. Hashtag Ravenclaw.
He should make more. He can't brush his teeth until the snow thaws.
It's a year you pull out a
How does that
tiny
work?
little chunk.
Is there
of,
even...
like,
Yeah, I'm guessing
some
there is snow there right now.
Some fruits that they can eat, like a mango soaked in like a little bit of alcohol. And like once a year, you give it to your beardy as a treat. You know what I'm saying? Like once a year. It ain't gonna hurt them. And that's if they take it. If they don't drink it or take it, whatever, then don't do it, you know? What happened to the lizard? How did he get outside? Well, that's a good question.
Good question. It's funny when you ask someone a question and they start with "That's a good question." They're stalling to think of an answer.
I stepped outside, and sometimes I will take Puff out, let him chill out on my shoulder, and he was on my shoulder when I went outside. I was going to give him maybe 10 minutes of some sunshine, just hanging out on my shoulder.
He doesn't need that. He has a heat lamp. He doesn't need to go out in the winter. That is terrible. That is awful. It doesn't make sense because it was in the 30s outside.
Shoulder, and Puff decided to crawl down my shoulder and literally crawl down my leg and then jump off and then take off in some random direction. And I chased after him, and I couldn't find him because the way Puff is colored on his scales, he blends into the
he shouldn't be
the wilderness around my.
That's not true. He's colored for a desert climate, like Central Australia. It's all desert. So that kind of terrain is what he's colored for.
Apartment. So it's a bit inconvenient to say the least. And I know Danny Filth was like, don't hurt the lizard. And I'm like, I didn't, to be honest. Ozzy and Danny Filth aren't going anywhere for a long time. And fuck my YouTube trolls. How did I break my front tooth?
His dad his dad didn't get rid of it. His dad has nothing to do with what he does. His dad lives in another town, and his dad you could tell his dad has lost his patience with dealing with Josh. Ever since, Josh got kicked out of Job Corps, and then Josh got kicked out of his last apartment. It's just, he's a pain. Like, most parents don't have to deal with a 30-year-old, a 30-year-old son like this.
Well, that was from not brushing my teeth. And then my tooth was just and I'm like, oh, that's gross. And I'm like, at this point, I don't know what to do. If I started brushing, it wouldn't make much of a difference.
That's such a defeatist attitude. That's like someone being like, oh, I'm already 450 pounds, so even if I get to 500, it won't make much of a difference. That's how you keep getting worse and not getting better.
So I'll just see where it takes me, if I got to get...
Where it takes you, it's going to lead to some really expensive and painful dental surgery eventually.
Implants, I don't give a shit. Dude, someone gave me $100. Take it easy, brother. Thank you, Turkey Tom, for your $99. Ruffle, thank you for your $49. Hi, I like you.
On November 28th, Josh made more merch just in time for the holidays. Josh would end November by making...
Speaking of merch, I actually have all of the merch for the $33 level on Patreon. I actually have it. I'll show it to you guys in a minute here after this video is over.
Obviously, this was a horrible idea, as the milk would expire, rendering the mead undrinkable. Josh returned a day later on November 30th and drank the mead straight from the comically sized mead jar.
Gross.
And Josh rambled for half an hour about his mistake. And that was November. After having his YouTube account banned for the second time, Josh quickly realized that he was on thin ice and that he needed to watch what he says. Now that he had 2 strikes on his channel, it would only take one more ban to have his YouTube channel permanently suspended. The power is now truly in the troll's hands. Although he only streamed once, he made way over $400 in super chat donations.
That's insane.
You'd think he would want to go live more, as he was unbanned and was fully capable, but the answer is no. I would like to dedicate this video to Puff, aka Puffers. He didn't deserve to pass away so young. You will always be in our hearts. We love you, Pufferth.
All right. Dedicated to Puff, R.I.P. Here's the sticker that we're doing for the $33 level. It's like an 8-bit Drunken Peasants, super sweet boy, black cart You ever seen the old black box Nintendo carts from back in the day? This is what they used to look like, and it there was like sports series and adventure series. This is podcast series. So this is the sticker that I'll be sending to everybody. Yeah, Duck Hunt. The Duck Hunt box was like that. There was a bunch of them. There was pro wrestling. There was a bunch of them. Those original Nintendo black box games. Yeah, the OG ones. And then we're also, for the $50 level, we're putting it on a shirt. And I'm making multiple different colors available depending on which one you think looks best on you and that the box art looks good with. You know, there's a lot of different choices, you know. So I basically have it available in all of these different colors. So just keep it in mind at any point between now and the end of the month. If you sign up at patreon.com/DP, the $33 level gets you the sticker, and then the $50 level gets you the shirt and the sticker. I mean, it did in many ways. You know, like everyone has to edit the swear words out of their content now. I don't do it, but maybe that's why I'm not making the big AdSense bucks. It could be why. We have... Oh, here's some Sturges. Let's see what Sturges has to say here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Renown Zero.
All right, we're going to skip the little promo for Eric July and Blade Devil or whatever the fuck it's called. All right, his weird, like, Lolicon-looking series that he's always promoting. All right.
We'll start, like I said, with the news of the Rippaverse officially adding canon.
How much of your video did I skip? It's like almost the first 3 minutes is just nonsense where you're advertising something that you didn't even get paid to advertise.
Right, and the Sasuke sisters to the team full time. We'll read it from the Rippaverse.com website. The Rippaverse officially adds Canon White and Sasuke sisters to the team. The hottest independent comic book company, Rippaverse, founded by Eric July, celebrates its third seven-figure campaign under a year by bringing on full-time to their team acclaimed artist Canon White.
Yeah, I saw your donation. I responded to it. YouTube ruined freedom of speech. Oh, God, oh, man, I just got a thank you for signing up for the $33.33 Patreon. Now, obviously, you get all the lower tier perks. So it's all the lower tier perks and then a little extra something for you. That's what we're doing. Trying to maximize support and minimize costs. Yeah, see? Egghead understands. All lower tier perks. I know, it is true. Yeah, now everything has to be censored. You have to self-censor if you really want to get anywhere. Not only do you not get paid, but you also don't get promoted in the algorithm if you're considered a naughty channel. That's how it is.
And fan favorite horror directors Jenna Sylvia Saska, who wrote.
Hold on. He gave us another one last night that I can't remember right now. I can't remember what he said last night that I laughed so hard at, but he said, instead of saying wrote, he said, who writted?
Jenna Sylvia Saska, Dude,
I would have edited that out. Unless I said it live, but this is an edited video. Well, it's probably not edited, but it's pre-recorded. I don't think he edits. Writted. Cockwork. That's what he said. Like cockwork. Like cockwork, bud. He's such a buffoon.
Who wrote?
Who writted?
The Black Widow, No Restraints Plague comics series.
This is the guy that goes around correcting everyone's grammar and spelling and everything.
Canon White,
and calling people fat.
for his outstanding work with Marvel and DC, as well as indie work, have been tasked with prominent pieces around the Rippaverse, including being revealed as the first announced cover artist for Yaira #1. You can see it below here. This will be cover A for Yaira #1. The Sasuke sisters, known for their visceral and hard-hitting films, will be the writers for this anxiously anticipated anti-heroine, whose first issue will be released this winter. Now both the Sasuke sisters and Canon White are no longer artists for hire, as they join the stellar team at the Rippaverse with new roles while resuming their previous responsibilities within the company. Canon White joins as the lead art editor of the Rippaverse, while Jen and Sylvia Sasuke share duties as additional lore masters and
Oh yeah, for some reason the audio just drops out. Yes, Sturgis is not in good shape. I get these at the gym, bud. I get it from months at the gym, bud. He's all like flexing. He's like months and months and months, bud. It's so stupid. It's months. Why would he upload this? It's kind of like the video where he was reacting to a different video, but you couldn't hear the sound.
legendary Mike Baron Gooding the Polymath, which will come next spring.
Gooding.
Rippaverse founder and owner Eric July.
Gooding. Spelled Gooding, I believe. Gooding.
Had this comment on the addition of Canon and the Sasuke sisters to his full-time team. The Sasuke and Canon have been incredibly valuable to his company as creatives. It made all of the sense in the world to bring them on in more officialized roles. They're going to help elevate the Rippaverse to even greater heights.
Yeah, you tell him, Egged. You tell him. And Egged, I'm not sure if you caught this, but Thursday is the booking committee, and Commissioner Jeff Holiday will be there. So you might want to be there for that. He will be present at the booking committee.
Now, of course, Dickie Boy Masterson had to put in his little input on what we would call a troll tweet, I guess, if you want to call it that. But of course, he always has to put his 2 cents into everything. He always has to find ways to try to find owns and gotchas everywhere.
This is not on Twitch. He just recorded this. He just hits record probably on OBS and records it. This is not a Twitch stream. This is not from a live stream. On Twitch, all he does is play video games.
He thinks they can be found. Looks like Eric July hired himself a great art editor. He is a art editor, I believe, from what I just read. So, where is it?
No, he doesn't have his OBS set up correctly to record his desktop audio. So he was watching this Tim Pool video on Twitter and he could hear it, but the recording couldn't hear it. But he's so lazy, he doesn't review his videos. He just uploads them. So he uploaded a video of him reacting to a video that you can't hear. That's what it was.
Lead art editor. So you're criticizing what he types rather than his actual artwork. I wouldn't give a crap the way
I don't give a crap,
types,
bud.
my dude.
I don't give a crap, bud.
I don't care. You can see some of it
I
here
don't care, bud.
on Yaira #1, which I'm sure he's done Gooding as well. Just saying, not really anything to think you have a gotcha on, of course. All the people have said the same thing. Canon White, new Rippaverse editor, makes his announcement post. Haters immediately begin nitpicking the post. Of course, we have Vickyverse. Oh, lordy. The said bald-headed wench that has no job. Snyder Slayer becomes editor for a comic with crappy grammar.
That's all he can do is he has to resort to personal insults. He can't defend his views. Like, maybe all that shit is true about whoever he was just talking about, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't make Isom good. It doesn't make any of the shit it doesn't prove your taste is good.
Makes about 3 spelling mistakes in an announcement tweet. Another nail for the coffin. That Rippaverse. Yeah, $3 million campaigns. 2 of them multi-million dollars.
It made a lot of money, bud.
Wow, that's an editor who made a "I just got a job as an editor" tweet. He even went and edited that tweet. Suddenly I don't feel so bad about my editing work. I mean, you should feel bad about your life, considering this is all you do all day. SJW Captain America. Great start to the Ripper Craps editor. Nothing inspires confidence like a badly written tweet after it had been edited by him. After it. Yeah, because you made a spelling error as you're talking crap. This is called karma, you weirdo. And also, you get constantly destroyed by Yellow Flash, so you're a loser. I'm not going to pay for a blue checkmark to have the, quote, privilege to edit my tweets. Clearly, even those training wheels don't help Cannon White. I don't really care how he types on Twitter. I care about the beautiful artwork that he makes. And that's what's so weird about these people. Who gives a crap how he types on Twitter?
Who gives a crap, bud?
I care about this.
You care about how people... Hold on. Every time there's someone you disagree with on Twitter that makes a spelling error, you shit on them. So what are you talking about? You're so fucking... You're such a hypocrite.
About this. Who cares?
Who cares, bud?
He responds to Eric's tweet saying, you know, seeing what happened in the game and peeping the game about his quick delivery. Bro, your quote imperfect books are just SketchUp renders with free 3D models. They're worse than a rush job. They're basically clip art. So why don't you remind your friend Pito the Vito or Vito the Pito, where's his book at? Still being made, huh?
Yeah, he wants his book to be finished and good and not have errors in it before he sends it out. He cares more about the quality of his product than like people getting mad about having to wait longer.
You know, Alpha Core is about to be delivered into people's hands while Super Killer is still not done. You should probably get on that rather than criticizing what other people do and stop hating. Because you just look silly. You continue to look silly for the rest of your life, basically. Okay, Juju the cow? Eric July continues his one-sided beef against Vito in tonight's cry stream. He uses ableist slurs. Oh, you mean retard? It's not really a slur, but whatever you want to believe, bud. Now, it's simply a video clip of Eric July saying that you took people's money and still haven't delivered a product while trying to talk crap about other people who have gotten people's money and actually delivered a product.
Said product, bud. He always says said product.
I guess. Whatever. He's definitely effing that dog. Yeah, of course you'd have this weird fantasy. I mean, you had that weird fantasy photo of Isam and his sister. You weird dude. I mean, no wonder they call you Juju the cow. But dude, you like dressing up as an animal.
I can't hate on someone for loving a dog because I got dogs and they're like my kids. So
I guess detractors hating and scheming over time, all because Eric July made a comic book they don't like. Shake my head. At Ripperverse goalposts.
Ripperverse.
We got Frosty. Time to research his alleged criminal history and gang activity. Might be tough. A lot of the records will be from when he was a minor. Well, no crap. Because people grow and people change from when they're kids, you weirdo. You absolute...
You weirdo. You're a weirdo.
Moron. I've done a lot of digging, even found his dad. But it would require a trip to Texas because you're a psycho and you're a stalker. There are a lot of places and people I've come across online that could tell you a lot about the real YG Ripper. What do they say the real YG Ripper was like? I'd honestly like to try and track down some people that knew him and get answers on record. There's a lot of YG Ripper left online, but a lot has been deleted. He turned up in a few documentaries too. He definitely did some dumb stuff that got him and others in trouble. Yeah, because they're dumb kids.
They're dumb. They're
it's
stupid,
like
bud.
You can't be a kid now because you made a comic book that... What kind of nonsense is this? Shout out to LG. You know, people. These are the people who never have any real friends, likely because they pushed them all away, being borderline creepy. Yeah, that'll change minds and certainly won't look demented, says John Douglas, who also has a book out, I believe, called Black Crown. Okay, stop. He's cool. We get it. Pathetic and sad. At this point, it's getting creepy. This is far beyond just being a hater. When y'all just enjoy the comic every day? Y'all beefing with somebody. Y'all don't get tired. Literally no. This level of obsession is legit mental illness. Dude's showing up to his relative's grave, showing up to his business after hours, finding his dad, and fantasizing about interviewing people he knows. This is not healthy behavior. Nothing to track down. Ripper has freely spoken about his troubled past on live streams. There is no gotcha moment here. He did some thug stuff in the past. Who gives a crap? Stalkers is the word, not detractors. They have literally lost their minds.
Stalkers sounds better than detractors, honestly. Detractor, it sounds dumb.
You literally see so many people seeing what's wrong with these weirdos over here.
These weirdos.
I knew an external hater in high school. He was arrested for doing this. Spread the word. Probably not, but obviously supposed to be a joke. No matter if you hate him, hate his politics, hate his comments, this is too far and 10,000% weird behavior. And if you don't think this is weird, you might be a weirdo too. It's not because he made a comment you don't like it.
He just reads through Twitter. Like, what would he do if Twitter didn't exist? Oh my God. Oh, does he? Can we hear this video? I hope we can hear this video.
Why you're saying it. This is, of course, Richard here, which, as you know, again, what does Eric say about his haters? Fat and white.
That's you! You're fat and white, but you're not his hater.
I don't know this.
You are fat.
Guys, I can't say nothing to him. I think he made the comic Lucent is from based on this here. I can't say anything to him because I don't know the guy.
It's a fun book. You actually packed a lot into 20 pages.
But it is a good comic. It's fun. It leaves you on a kind of a cliffhanger.
And you're saying, like, I might know how to write comics. I think you do, because it's very well written. It's very fun.
You get a little reveal and you're like, oh, I wonder where this is going.
I liked it from the first panel. I liked how you opened it.
It left me wanting more.
This is a good start, and I wanted to know more about these guys.
I believe available on Fund My Comic. Might be available somewhere else. Best value in any comics at only $5 plus shipping.
Notice how in none of the clips Dick doesn't say a word, because he doesn't actually care about this medium.
I mean, it's just how they're clipped. He still says stuff. What are you talking about?
Cares about being against Eric July and against anyone who agrees with Eric July or likes his Ripperverse.
He creates this team that he's a part of.
Anything to that nature, he'll be against it. No problem. No problem. But of course, in the last couple of days, they've also, attacked people like Black Sage. Shout out to Black Sage, good dude. Go follow him on Twitter. Has some very base takes when it comes to the censorship.
He's got some very base takes, bud.
Video games and women in them. So I'm going to give you all a hint. He says every professional artist uses 3D to draw assets. In fact, it is outright encouraged for people to use assets in digital art, like Clip Studio, so that people would draw these assets correctly. This is such an effing reach. Yeah, the issue is that it's being done badly, you dumb crap. Of course, Buster Baxter, Dick Masterson putting in his opinion.
That's your opinion, bud. That's your opinion, bud.
But it is. It's your opinion.
That's your opinion.
It's also not effing true, says EVS. I don't use programs like that. Everything is hand-drawn. If I need to draw a truck, I find photos of trucks and then I draw from them. To which he responds, that may be great for you, Ethan, but other people might need help using reference to make their art. It helps speed up production so that people don't spend years making one book. Even game developers use pre-made assets to make amazing-looking games. Speed up production so it looks like crap? Why? They're independent. They don't have those same deadlines Marvel and DC have. Independent comics are subject to the same deadlines and obligations as mainstream ones do. It's just that they have no overhead. That's why you're not seeing ISOM and Comic America take 2 to 3 years to release a single book. In return, you see good sales and good reactions. Well, the big mainstream comic industries are owned by mega corporations that have money, so they don't really have to meet deadlines. They're going to get paid regardless, whereas when in the independent space, if you don't...
He's such a bitter little man. I've already challenged him to a shirtless pose down. He's afraid. He's afraid because people will see that he is easily fatter than me. Like, I don't care if people are fatter than me, except for when you call me fat and claim that you're not fatter than me. It just doesn't make any sense. You don't even have to like step on that landmine, right? You could just say something else. But I'm saying, like, look at that. First of all, he's wearing a large when he should probably be wearing an XL. right? He's wearing a shirt that's way too tight. And that's a picture of me from yesterday. I'm not like the most fit person ever, but I'm definitely not as fat as him. This guy calls me fat all the time. All the time. That's his like main way of responding to me. I don't get it. He was skinnier. Like we've seen younger pictures of him where he's skinnier for sure. And they're probably like 4 to 5 years old.
Sell a product, you don't make any money and you don't survive. So that's the difference, you dummy.
You dummy.
What the F? They can delay their books if they need to maintain quality control. Chuck Dixon has EVS, etc. ISOM sales are going down because people are realizing how crap it is.
Yes. Yeah, respond to that. What is your opinion on that point that person just made?
The current book is Alpha Core. It's not ISOM.
Okay. Oh, what? Yeah, there's a new book, but the old books have all these mistakes because they were rushed out. Because dimwits like you think it's better to get a rushed out comic book than a quality one. And the price point of it is so high, you should expect it to not have any errors in it.
So, you're wrong.
That's your response to that? You're wrong? And can you explain why you prefer getting a comic book on time over it not having all these mistakes in it?
And in the reference to ISOM, again, comic book sales go down from issue 1 to issue 2, even in mainstream comics. So this doesn't mean anything to anyone that knows about the industry. Berserk and Hunter x Hunter fans have entered the chat, which Nagfar says one author is deleted, is gone, passed away, and the others suffers from severe issues, health issues. If you are healthy and able-bodied, you can get your stuff out on time.
Thank you.
Which he also says Black Sage to this guy. You know, it was always about jealousy, and Vito cried that Eric should be helping promote smaller creators more. They wanted handouts, and when he clearly and explicitly states they're doing things differently, they throw a tantrum about it. Cloud chasers will always attack more successful people whenever they don't receive their handouts like a charity. Why would Eric help out his competition? He doesn't have to. He's in no position to have to do that at all. Ethan also says, hey, Black Sage, it's great for Ethan because I'm an actual comic book artist. Other people don't need to be comic book artists if they can't draw and using digital assets, stencils.
That's your opinion,
isn't one
bud.
of life's requirements, and equity in comic book drawing isn't a thing. Go read How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way and count the number of digital assets John Buscemi traced. It's 0. Speeding up production on crap isn't necessary. Our message isn't Disney isn't producing.
I love interrupting his streams because he like we got him to stop playing his game for over 10 minutes. Let's see. Let's see where he's at right now. Is he streaming? Does he have a new... Oh, let's see. Does he have a new video? No, he doesn't.
Soulless.
Let's see if he's on Twitch right now.
To meet the demand for it, we want something better. The great Doomcock coined the phrase, without respect, we reject. Respecting the customer actually means creating stories and art that come from gifted creators who have heart and want to raise the next generation of better heroes, something worth their time, money, and attention. We can do that. At least Shane Davis can and John Malin. Well, considering that Eric July respects his customer and thanks his customer all the time whenever the people buy his stuff, he is respecting.
It's all about respect, isn't it? It's all about that respect. That's the valuable thing. It's not about getting a good product. It's not about any of that. It's respect. Eric July, he always talks about how much he respects me. Therefore, he's awesome and his comic is good. Right? That's what matters. Respect. That's what you pay for. A heaping pile of respect.
Customers by appreciating their purchase and appreciating them watching videos and live streams.
I appreciate you. I respect you.
So what you're saying here doesn't really matter about this line here.
What you say, it doesn't matter.
He's creating
bud.
stories and art that people like, that a lot of people like. Just because there's a small subsection of people that don't like his stories and art doesn't mean there aren't people that do. That doesn't mean that there aren't people that do like his stories and art.
He got a little lost in his own brain there for a second.
That like his stories.
It's because the art that they do doesn't mean they aren't.
EVS is an effing backstabber, and it's clear that he's not in it for the passion anymore, but to stroke his own ego. I respected the man, but it's clear as day the dude throws people onto the bus to
I don't have a problem with EVS. Like, I don't really care.
make himself look good. It takes forever to
I think he's a good
release
artist.
a book. He does take forever to release a book. Like I've said in the past, his artwork is fantastic. I would never deny that. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't good.
Wow, me and Sturgis agree on one thing.
But yes, takes him a very long time to get me a book.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, there is a certain point where it's unreasonable and unacceptable, but I don't think maybe even like a 6-month delay. You know, I would say once you get after 6 months, it's probably a bad idea, and people probably, won't buy it next time if it takes that long.
Right arm of the IRL model in purple is not the same exact position as Harley's right arm in the drawing. It's not traced, unlike the very obvious poly.
I don't know why his audio keeps going out.
Round those out. This is a reference to.
I wonder if he has a short in his cable. I think he's going through his headset microphone.
An Alex Ross drawing of Joker and Harley.
People were trying to arrange some kind of boxing match or MMA match between me and Sturgis. He ignored it. He got a Streamlabs asking him, and he's like, "Thanks for the money. I'm making money off my haters like Eric July. So thanks for the money. I'm gonna continue to monetize you." He didn't respond to it. He's afraid.
Such a goddamn reach. It's actually embarrassing how many people are upset about this. And this is the reference here. Dog gets traced. Don't tell that to Alex Ross. This is the drawing that the guy is talking about here. This is it right here. So at the end of the day, it would appear even professionals do it. They use references. So they really have nothing to say. They just like to reach. They're going to continue to reach, and Buster Baxter and Dick Masterson is always going to be essentially mad.
Essentially, bud.
Eric
He
rejected
loves
his
essentially.
trash, quote-unquote, criticism.
I need to create Sturgis bingo, and essentially is one of the spaces on Sturgis bingo.
For a book that he clearly didn't read, because clearly he didn't read Blood and the Sword either, even though he's in a clip with Vito. And Vito is probably not going to get his book out before Yaira #1, which would be extremely embarrassing for a guy who claims to like the comic industry and is always talking crap about literally anybody else rather than
talking
working
crap,
on his own
bud.
material. So continue to hate and see how far that gets you. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit the like button, comment below how you feel about all this, subscribe for more content, hit
How
the
you
bell for
feel about
notifications,
all
set the
this,
bell to
bud?
all, that we get notifications anytime I post a new video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace, bud. Yeah, Buster Baxter. Bud. Buster Baxter. Anyone got anything left in them to start one last tip train? Maybe get us to 35%? That's a nice, solid place to be, going into Thursday. Originally, Billy was booked for tomorrow's show, but he had to go out of town, I believe. Or he had something he needed, like, most of the week off to do. So we've got Jeff tomorrow. So we'll have Jeff tomorrow and on Saturday. So not sure exactly what Billy was doing, but he needed like the whole week off. So we got Jeff tomorrow. We got Jeff on Saturday. I'll probably be doing streams in between, kind of like this. I think it's a good idea to stream in earlier in the day. Diversification, I guess. So that's what I'm doing. Might wrap it up in a few here though, unless we get a good tip train rolling. How about if we get it to 35? I'll go for at least another hour. If we can get it to 35. Well, there we go.
Provide a literal decade of entertainment. The least we can all do is give him a tip train tonight.
Thank you so much. Sometimes I'll hear my dogs barking, and I'll be like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I have like cameras everywhere, outside even, and I'm like, "Who's outside?" And I always check the front of my house like a paranoid fucker to be like, "Oh, who's out there?" Nobody's out there. There. All right. Well, that brings us closer. Okay, so I have to go to the bathroom anyway. So I'm going to go to the bathroom, and maybe we'll see if we can get closer to the goal, like to 35. There we go. Holy shit. Thank you so much. I am going to be right back. I'm going to play... where is it? Hold on. I gotta grab my long video. Here we go. All right. I will be right back.
Hello, friends. This is the Sophisticated Urbanite here, and my investigation has uncovered some pretty interesting facts about Simple Country. Turns out, neither is he simple, nor is he country. I just want to point this out, so y'all know you've been lied to. You've been deceived. We all got sunglasses. We all got suit coats. We all have wood-paneled rooms. But, as the Sophisticated Urbanite, my wood-paneled room is superior. My suit jacket, superior. My sunglasses, my fedora, tips, my ladies, way better than Simple Country. So take it from me, Sophisticated Urbanite, your world champion.
The following video that you're about to watch is based on real events that transpired outside of a soup kitchen somewhere in eastern Pennsylvania. Fuck yeah! Extra fucking mania's been badass, motherfucker! And I support strong women like Jess, bro. She's gonna come through as the world heavyweight champion. Yeah! What do you think, Rev?
Oh yeah, Shaddy. Yeah, you're right. Jespro all the way. Yeah, you're right. Ben sucks. There's no way he's going to win. Jespro's just like us. She's amazing. She could collab at our OnlyFans with us. That'll be pretty amazing, I think. Fuck yeah. We'll get Jespro to threesome with me and Rev, and it'll be on our OnlyFans. It's going to blow us up. Kanye West is going to love this. Hey, wait a minute. What the fuck is he doing here? Shani, Rev, you're both stupid. You're stupid. Do you know how stupid you are? You are both so stupid, you even stupider than me. I can't believe it. Shani and Rev, you are the stupidest. You are the stupidest of the stupid. Even stupider than the amazing atheist who was scared to debate me. Why the fuck are you here, G-Man? We start talking about OnlyFans and all of a sudden you show up. What is your fucking problem? I don't want to be your Oreo cookie, you piece of shit. Well, actually, Reverend Shani, even though you're both stupid, even stupider than me, I'm here to make a peace offering. And I've decided, Shani, you're about to get this chocolate. Yep, for the first time, I'm gonna give you the chocolate. What you've always wanted, Shani. Whoa, holy fucking shit! If you put it that way, I'm all in. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, Rev. We're gonna make this happen, finally, and you're not gonna get in the way anymore. Whoa, Shaddy, what's going on? I thought we were going to have a threesome with Jespro on our OnlyFans. What's going on with this? G-Man's just coming around and saying you can have the chocolate, and now you're agreeing with him. I'm so confused. Shut the fuck up, Rev. You always knew it was going to end up this way deep down in your heart. Just accept it and move on. I guess you forgot, Rev. G-Man always wins. Enjoy the view from the cuck tent, bitch. Come on, ladies, let's get out of here and make some awesome OnlyFans content. Oh, no. No, Shaddy. No, Jespro. No.
All right, I'm back. I was much fatter there. So I'm back. Will we do it? Will we get to 35%? We shall see. I'll watch another video. You can hear him breathe.
It is December in Daytona Beach. And Kathy Johns just posted this on Facebook. A meme that captures exactly what is wrong in the USA today. It is when people forget God that tyrants forge their chains. Every major problem this nation is facing can be traced to walking away from our Christian heritage. And in its place, wickedness and moral filth took over our government and schools. Today we feel the chains of tyranny around our necks. I have been warned by Facebook and YouTube that I will be permanently banned if I speak truth about the 2020 elections, the Fauci vaccines, or the LGBT.
The Fauci vaccines, that was Trump's vaccine that he actually takes credit for. What are you talking about? Like, Trump created Operation Warp Speed so that the vaccines could come out more quickly, like the research could be done more quickly.
The January 6th committee effectively put the chains of tyranny around our necks.
Trump didn't invent the vaccine, but you could call it'd be better to call it the Trump vaccine than the Fauci vaccine.
By destroying First Amendment rights to speak out against government corruption.
What a dumbass.
Free and fair elections are circling the drain and may soon vanish forever, depending on what happens in 2024. Want to see another picture of America's spiritual condition? The wolf of hell is about to chomp down on America because we have gotten
the wolf of hell
far from the shepherd, the Lord of Lords and King of Kings.
Bow down to the...
There is no political solution to the corruption we see taking down everything that is good in the USA. We are in a massive spiritual war for the heart and soul of America. And the only winning strategy is for us as a nation to deliberately and with great determination to turn back to being a nation under God. Ronald Reagan once said...
They talk like Ronald Reagan like he was in the Bible or something. It's crazy how conservatives talk about Ronald
If we ever
Reagan.
forget that we are one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under. When Barack Obama lit up the White House in the colors of the rainbow flag to celebrate homosexuality, this nation under God became a nation under the divine judgment of God's wrath. And to understand the perplexing, dirty politics of Washington, D.C., John Calvin said it perfectly. When God wants to judge a nation, he gives them wicked rulers. The only way to restore this nation begins with Christian men and women dedicating themselves to fasting and praying for this nation, praying for the Holy Spirit to move powerfully against the forces of darkness.
Move powerfully.
Please pass this video far and wide. The tyrants are trying to silence me, and I need a circle of faithful friends to help get the message out. This is Wild Bill for America. Thank you for watching.
I think he got a bunch of his videos removed.
And America, bless God, again.
Circle of lightning bolt. All right, so we're not quite at a 35%. if we don't get it in the next couple minutes, I'm probably gonna just end the stream. But I will do it for another whole hour if we can get to 35. It's just a goal. It's not a big deal. If we don't meet it, you know, there will be more streaming to do, so don't feel obligated, but you know, just trying to move the goal. That's why we're here. Look how far we've moved the goal. We've like doubled the goal from yesterday. That's amazing. But yeah, let's do a timer. That way we know. I don't want to get into a situation where like I go off the air and then someone donates. You know what I mean? So this gives people the time. If someone is going to do it, then they have the time to do it. It was good to stream earlier. Like normally by now I would just now be setting up the stream. I usually start at 3, so I would have started like an hour ago. Like the stream. Yes, Egghead. So Egghead, you declined the spin till you spew challenge, right? Because you didn't even respond to it at all. So I'm guessing you have been in a drinking contest on DP before though. But this would annihilate you, Egghead. This would very much annihilate you if you did not perform well. You would... Yes, Egghead. Negan challenged you to a round of spin till you spew. Negan is a fan of the show that donates to the show very often. I don't know. They made the challenge to you. I was going to have them go up against Jeff, but who knows? Yeah, we would just pull you in and we would link you up to the game. And there's a, you know, the wheel. I still have the wheel. I can literally bring it up whenever. Oh, here it is. Why is it there but not there? Here it is. Huh. If I go here and where is it? Here it is. What do we got here? Rum. That would have been rum, Egghead. That would have meant you had to drink some rum, Egghead. Negan claims to not be a good drinker either, so it might be a quick game. We're not doing weed. It's spin till you spew. We have rum, vodka, tequila, and whiskey. And then there's one pass and one double. So there you have it. Nah, I don't want to make people have to buy another type of liquor. It's 4 is already enough. So, because you got to get it yourself. No, I actually think coughing up blood is worse than puking, so I don't like that idea. Plus, that sounds like it might take a long time. All right, so we're almost at the end of the timer. If we don't pull it off this time, I will just see you guys next time. Probably see you guys on. I'll probably stream on my other channel tomorrow. Which is The Altered Perspective. If you guys aren't aware of it, which I think you probably already are, but I'll probably stream there tomorrow. But I'll be back on Thursday, and then there's a Friday coming up. Let me see. What's going on Friday? Yeah. We'll probably get a stream in on Friday, too. I stream every day. It's my world now. All right. Yes, I'm going. I'll see you guys next time. Everyone have a great night. Bye now.